Hello and welcome, friends. Nice to see you here today. I'm James, Off Cost Games, and we play board games here. Today, we're going to be playing this game, Wraith and the Giants. Wraith and the Giants is a little bit of a boss battler, I guess, where we're going to play as Wraith. This lady, this absolute badass. Look at her. And this is specifically Young Wraith. So Young Wraith is our character right now, and we are going to struggle with simple dexterity tasks. We are going to try and defeat the Earth Giant. Okay, this guy's huge, he's angry, he's all sorts of things. So, obviously, there's a bit of a scale issue here. We are tiny. The giant is a giant. As the story goes, we are one in a line of many fighters who protect our village from the giants who rise up every 23 years. Odd interval, but it is what it is. So the Earth Giant here is our first giant to deal with. We have to stop it before it gets to our village, which will be represented by this deck here. If this deck runs out, we lose. We are going to use cards in order to take actions to defeat and bring down this giant. If we run out of cards here, we also lose. We've become exhausted and we have failed. And our goal is to cause 3 scars on this giant, which we'll talk about in a little bit here. But let's see how this works. The story of Young Wraith. The village is counting on you. Grandmother once raised her sword and bent her bow to stop the giants, and so shall you. Your heart is pure, your bravery untarnished, and your spirit stronger than anyone else's in the village. It has fallen upon you, as few summers under you as there have been, to become the Wraith and save your people. You must become as shadow, untouchable and flitting to the corners of perception. As you and your ancestral blade and mystic arrows, you use your ancestral blade and mystic arrows to find the weaknesses of these titanic threats. What you lack in experience, you make up for in vigor and determination, and hopefully a destiny of victory over the giants. So an interesting thing about this game is it is sort of like a bit of a campaign game where we're going to play through as Young Wraith here. And then we have the opportunity to also play as the adult Wraith and the elder Wraith. So 23 years into the future, and then another 23 years into the future. I do not think we'll be getting to that today, because each campaign consists of 4 giants that we have to defeat. So the earth, air, ice, and fire giants. Possibly in that order, I'm not sure. But there's also a little storybook here, so let's check that out. Oh my gosh. It is, they meant it when they said story. Okay, we're gonna read. Oh my! Is this just like a straight? Is this for each? Okay, there's one story thing here, I think, for each giant, perhaps. So let's try and give this a go here. And if it's awful, I reserve the right to skip the rest of the story. But let's start and see where we're at. I still feel the aftershocks. A ripple danced across the surface of the honeyed tea in my wooden cup, nearly every minute, telling me and my mother that the Earth Giant had taken another step closer. So it's Jurassic Park, basically, right? Like thunder through the ground itself, I couldn't ignore it. My time was coming. With grandmother's passing, the mantle of Wraith, protector of the fighting spirit of my village, fell onto my shoulders. This is how it has always been, and will always be. As long as I do not fail. You're days away, dear. Mother's voice called me back to the now. What's going on between those ears of yours? Thanks, Mom. I'm afraid. I turned my cup around in place. What if I can't defeat the giant? That isn't what you actually need to defeat. The corners of her mouth tilted upwards in a slight smirk, and her lengthening pause piqued my curiosity. If not the giant, then what? Your fear. There was another tremor, and she placed her hands delicately over my own. It is the sharpest arrow in the earth giant's quiver. That's odd, I snickered. I thought it was the titanic strength and immense body of stone and soil. It was a brief moment of levity, but it cast us both in slight warmth. See, she patted my hands a few times, and then turned to fill her own cup from the carafe on the table. It was the same with Grandma, I remember. No matter how sharp her sword or how precise the arrow, it was her bravery and indomitable spirit that made her succeed as the Wraith. I mean, I look pretty brave. Pretty brave. Grandmother was never afraid. No, I didn't say that either. Mother took a sip from her cup and shook her head, her eyes distant with an old memory. It has been a long time, and your mother is not as young as she once was. But I remember the last time the Earth Giant came for us. Your grandmother didn't sleep a wink the night we started to feel its steps. I felt the first one a few hours ago. The powers of the Wraith have been sharpening my senses since we said goodbye to grandmother and sent her to the heavens. But I never expected all of this. I admitted the strangeness of it out loud for the first time, and my mother merely smiled in response. You sound just like she did. She let out a long sigh. It was the kind of sound that was full of pride yet tinged with bittersweet memory. That night, I heard her pacing and pouring drinks in this very room. When I came out to see what was going on, she was looking out the window at it. I tried to look too, but the night was just too dark and the moon had closed its eye. But she could see it clear as day, she said. Yeah, I nodded, suddenly feeling closer to my grandmother than ever before. The Wraith's eyes, my eyes, are better than an owl's. I can read the Laird's blessing post from our front door. It seems kind of unnecessary to see so well, considering the giants are kind of hard to miss. I rolled my eyes. Sorry, keep going. Okay, so I'm a sarcastic, snarky 16-year-old. Naive and full of vigor. Pep, ready to kill the giant. She was just looking out into that darkness, sipping her brandy, and occasionally muttering something from the stories her grandmother told her. She smiled, but I knew she was scared. If I close my eyes even now, I can see her hand trembled every time she lifted that cup. I thought you said she overcame her fear. She did, but just like you now, it took more than just willing it to be. My mother drew back the linen-lined leathers over the window, letting in the night breeze. A sword is sharpened in many strokes of the whetstone, not one. A platitude from father? Really? Being the Wraith might be our side of the family's responsibility, she cocked an eyebrow, but don't you dare downplay the swordsmen who watch over us while the giants slumber. I know, I don't mean to, not really, it's just hard not to let everything come back to those titans stomping their way here. I understand, just be mindful, even the Wraith must have manners, she continued, but that can be a talk for another night. You want to hear how she found her bravery? Yes, I said. Oh my gosh. Okay. I don't think I'm going to read the rest of this story, but I will say that overall, there's a lot of story here. And this is like perhaps a bit cliche, but not written terribly. So that's promising at least. That said, I want to kill a giant. I don't need to know about how I found our bravery. We're going to say, blubbity blue blah, bravery is being fearful but doing it anyway. That's my assumption of what the rest of that story says. We're gonna run with it and see how it goes. So, in this game, it is a boss battler. It feels extraordinarily inspired a lot by Leviathan Wilds. We'll see if it holds up. Leviathan Wilds was a game I deeply enjoyed. But essentially here we have a hand of cards that we're going to have to manage. So we have 5 cards in hand, and each of these has 1 or 2 actions on it. So like this card the skilled climb lets us climb, and these cards let us both move and then shoot our bow. Okay. When we play one of these cards, we have to do all of the actions that are on it, but we can do them in whichever order we choose. So we would have to move and attack, or attack and move, but we can't do one or the other, right? You always have to do 2 actions every turn, whether you want to or not. The only exception to that is we can play a card face down, which allows us just to sort of pass and heal for 1. So I don't know how much we're going to have to do that. Depends on how successful we are at dodging this Giant's attacks, I suppose. So we're going to always play 1 card, resolve it fully, and then play another card and resolve it fully. And these cards also have these icons on the left side of them. Weird on this card. That's strange. Anyways, these cards always have these icons on the left, and some of the abilities work based on how many of these icons we've played previously. So for instance, in this case, I would get to move up to the number of little lung icons showing on my previously played cards in that row. So I'm playing my first action to a row here, and my second action to a row here, always throughout the game. So when I play an additional action later, any icons are only for the row that it's in. So we're going to want to try and stack these icons intelligently while also taking actions that are beneficial for us. So we start over here on the ground. This is us. And we're going to climb the giant here. I don't know if this is... I feel like this is positioned exactly wrong. But that is the way it's going to be, I suppose. So obviously, if we're climbing up this leg, there's little ledges and stuff that we can get to. Climbing is always upwards. We can also drop down to other ones. And we can leap, which allows us to move in either direction. Okay. As we're climbing here, we're going to be attacking. We can attack with our sword. Our sword is a melee attack on the spot we're on. We can attack with our bow, which is a only attacks adjacent spots connected by a line. And then we can also set some explosives, which was a little bit weird from how it was described in the rules. So we're just going to have to see how that goes when we get there, basically. So we're going to play 2 actions. We're going to be able to discard any number of cards we have, like cards that, you know, need a lot of icons might be better for us to save for later in the game. I don't know. That could be a terrible assumption that's incorrect, but it's one we're going to make. Yeah, so we discard any number of cards. We draw back up to a hand of 5, and then the giant's going to attack us. Essentially, they're always going to resolve 1 card, so we know what they're going to do. And then they're going to flip out a new card, and each of these cards has icons on it as well down here. And when that new card comes out, if it matches any of the icons of the existing cards, then those cards are going to activate. So we get attacked once for sure, and it's known. The things that can happen otherwise are also known, but whether they activate or not is a surprise. So we'll have to see how that goes as well. And these 5 cards that are down here represent the weak spots on the giant. So for instance, hey Allison, welcome in, nice to see you. This spot here shows us that E1 is a weak spot on the giant. So we want to, you know, swiftly climb way up here to E1 and put up some damage on this guy. And this card shows that if we do 7 points of damage to E1, then this becomes a scar. We do that 3 times, 3 scars. Obviously, they're all different, and we win, right? So that's essentially the method we use for defeating the giant is travel to these weak points, do a bunch of damage to them, enough to scar it, right? If we run out of giant cards, it's reached the village, we lose. If we run out of our own cards, we can like turn over our deck, but if we as we play them, they're locked up here forever. Once they're all gone, we lose. And that's kind of that. This giant is marauding to our village. Our job is to kill him first. Don't let him get to the village. That's it. We can also just do enough damage to the giant. He has 35 health. And if we just do 35 damage, that's that. So we'll see. But these cards are going to slowly turn over. I don't know. I'm not really sure what to expect here. Let's see how it goes. Have you played this before? It looks familiar. The reason it looks familiar, Allison, I have not played this before, but I have played a game called Leviathan Wilds that was fundamentally similar to this. It's like a boss battler where you're climbing a giant and doing damage to it. And even like the card row here and everything, like this is extremely familiar. It's not the same game by any means. Like the way you take actions, for instance, in this game is different for sure. But it is hard for me to believe that this wasn't heavily inspired by Leviathan Wilds, which was an excellent game which we played on stream before. So we'll see, does this one legally distinct? Yes, it feels like it's in that vein. Like it's just you know, Leviathan Wilds came out at the start of 2024, I think, and it had been announced on Kickstarter, you know, a while prior to that. But it's just this sort of thing where, you know, how many games about a giant that you're going to climb and attack in order to, you know, wound, and there's going to be a card row of 5 that determines its attacks, and if it misses you, it builds up rage. It's like those are all present in both games, and it feels like for those to just like happen simultaneously, I'm gonna say that's unlikely. So anyways, complete coincidence. Exactly. So it feels heavily inspired by, but that's okay. That's okay. You know, I think a real acknowledgement with board games or any form of art or other media is that things are derivative, right? Especially in the kind of modern age where sharing is easy and all that sort of stuff, right? And it's not like every game I play is going to be a wholly unique idea. So this one's maybe a little more derivative than others, but we will test it, see if it stands alone as a game. Do we have fun here? So with that, let's get into it, I guess. So we have our hand of 5 cards here, which is going to allow us to climb. This climb is a skilled climb. It lets us climb based on how many hand icons we've played. We basically don't want to use that till later in the game when we might be able, like currently we would climb 1. Later we might climb 4 or 5 spots. Like this could be a lot more valuable later. And this is like a budget. We don't have to go that far. Okay. A seeking shot. This lets us both move and attack with our bow up to the number of eye icons that we have, you know. This is also one we might want to wait till later. Or I guess all of them are like that. This lets us drop and move. We get to do those in either order. A drop is always any time that we're moving in like a downward direction whatsoever, right? So if we are on A3 here and we move to B3, that's a drop, not a climb. So that's like feels like a really important part of this game. This action here lets us leap, which allows us to go in either direction, up or down, but generally we're going to have a smaller budget for those moves, right? And this is one of those funky explosion attacks, which I was a little bit confused by in the rules. So, war games are only 2 variants: kill everyone or stand on circles. It's totally true. It's totally true, right? So yeah, I feel like it's funny to think about. Like when I it's an interesting thing to reflect on, having been in the board game space for a long time. Like, I remember when like Dominion came out, and I feel like that's honestly the last time I remember a game coming out with like what felt like a wholly like unique take on something. That introduced deck building to the masses, right? And now we're gonna build decks and you know, add cards to them and whatever. That largely like that felt new and fresh and whatever, and there's been like hundreds of pure deck builders ever since, right? Some of which are great, some of which are awful, and they kind of stand on the shoulders of Dominion, and they're not worse for having used a concept that was popularized by Dominion. That wasn't even the first game to do that. Like, building a deck isn't a unique idea. We see that in other games, and even in the board game space, games like StarCraft had come out before Dominion, but were sort of like less popular. It was less obvious that that was a key element. So everything's derivative, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And yeah, I'm trying really hard not to judge it, because it just feels like unsolicited. You were like, that looks familiar, and it does, because it's so fundamentally similar to a different game, you know? All right, so what are we gonna do here? We don't need to drop down. This is like okay, but once again would be better to save for later. Our leaps, this is also a drop. Okay, so we're basically gonna have to play this one because we need to move somewhere. And I don't know if we want to... Leaping seems extremely valuable, but we could probably leap this time after we do this one, maybe. Because we can... If we look at our monster here, we need to do a little bit of... I mean, we're picking one of these spots, but we could go this way and, like, leap downward or something. I don't know. The cards... I mean, we could also just use our skilled climb card. No, that only lets us climb one. That sucks. Let's not do that. Okay, whatever. We're gonna play these cards, and we're gonna see how it works. I also just want to quickly double check when we attack. I think we can attack any space that, yeah, any space that shows a weak spot. Okay, so the weak spots that are available on this giant right now are C1. So, kind of his heart. A2, his little kneecap here. E2, which is way up here on his third arm. I don't know. C, the entirety of the C section here is available. And E1, so way up here. So an important thing is we largely are going to win by inflicting scars, which means we have to hit the total number of wounds on these cards before they get cycled out. Every turn, we're going to be getting rid of one of these cards from the row. So, like, if we start doing damage here, we would have to do 7 damage this turn, or this is going to get discarded, and we're not going to be able to do a scar. Now, we still do the damage. The damage stays that we, you know, inflicted on the Earth Giant. But we don't get the opportunity to do a scar, right? So we probably want to focus on some cards that are over here. This one is easy to hit, right? Because it's just the entire C section, but it has a higher limit in order to do a scar. We have to do 11 points of damage. We're going to do like 1 this round. That feels like a lot. So I think maybe we're going to try and climb up here and do some damage to E1. Maybe. I don't know. Anytime we inflict a wound on these, we put one of these markers on it, so that's how we'll know how close we are to this. And if it has any wounds on it, then it doesn't activate. So we kind of want to spread out the damage, but we also want to do, you know, damage to single ones. So I guess that's the nature of the game, and we'll just have to see how it goes, you know? So that said, let's get started here. So the first thing we're gonna do, I suppose, is I want to do this one, but it sucks. I want to actually use our bow to do damage on a spot that matters, you know? And the way it is right now, you know, if we do our 2 moves and then attack, well, we're here. We're standing on the spot we need to attack for this one, but then we can't actually do that with a bow, right? We can only attack stuff that's adjacent to us. So we have kind of like, maybe we just waste, we know we're trying to go high up anyway. Let's use our swift stride first. So this lets us leap to, kind of a waste, but we're going to move 1-2 spots. Nothing exciting. And we're going to, actually, while we're here, does that make sense to do? Does that make sense? Sure. While we're here, let's do a fearless action. These are like bonus actions we can take. They cost us a wound, so we're gonna take damage. We only have 9 health. And this might be stupid. I might regret this later. We could have used one to move further and resolve this in a smarter, better order, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to leap into action, and we're going to take a fearless action here to do 1 damage on the spot we're on. So we're going to do 1 damage to his poor little kneecap here, A2, which is the weak spot for this card. So this card won't activate next turn now. We won't get attacked by it, which is rad. We're then going to do our seeking shot here. We can move up to 2. We go 1, 2, and we get to attack with our bow for the number of breath icons that are on display in this row. So, or not breath, eyeball icons here. So there's only 1. So we get to do 1 point of damage. We wish we could have hung on to that for later, but fail. And we're going to put that on our C card here, right? We're on C1, which is a weak spot. It's this one. But we can't attack the spot we're on with a bow. We can, however, attack the adjacent spot. Oh, this makes us take 2 wounds if we're in A or C. Well, I didn't plan that out. Okay, well, let's take another fearless action. And do a point of damage to this thing. That sucks. What a jerk. Okay. So that was our turn. We get to discard any number of cards and then draw up to 5. Now, I think we might want to drop down soon. This one might be actually really useful for us next turn. I think we're just going to hang on to these cards. And we're going to get rid of this skilled climb card because I don't know how useful. That's going to be really useful potentially later. And we don't really need to just climb right now a tiny amount. So we now draw up to 5. So what do we gain? We gain dash and slash, which sounds badass. Looks kind of badass too. So we can move and do a melee attack, or melee attack and then move. We got the momentum blade, which is like a better version of that same thing. It's even the same card art. And we got a strong swing. Okay, so we found all of the melee attacks, basically, right? We're able to really fight and do damage next time. Okay, so what we would do now is the Wraith's actions. We're going to attack with this leftmost card. Now, in this case, because it has a wound on it, it's not going to activate, right? We essentially saved ourselves from taking 2 wounds by instead taking 1. Rightly or wrongly, that's what we did. Let's make sure that I get this right. Kind of important. Okay, yeah, these do not wound our Wraith or apply their text effect. So, awesome. This just gets discarded. Easy peasy. These all slide over. And then we're going to put a new one out on the right here. And any matchy icons that it has will activate. So in this case, I got to actually dig in and see if this is what happens here, because this does have a match, but it's matching one that's wounded. So I think this doesn't actually happen. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so this doesn't happen unless its text states otherwise. Like this one says that it's, or has an always active effect. These ones do not, so I think we just take no damage. We're good. We escaped the wrath of the Earth Giant for this turn, and it's on to the next turn. And that's our core gameplay loop, where we're going to play 2 action cards here, do fearless actions at any time, which cost us wounds, and then the Earth Giant is going to attack us back. So we are trying to put up damage into E1 here, but I just noticed that there's a problem. Our card over here says weak spots adjacent to this card are dealt 1 fewer wound when attacked. That's always active. This is E2, so that means E1, our spot that we wanted to do, is essentially shielded for now. Right? This card will go away first, but or is it adjacent? Does this mean the C and A2 areas? Does this mean these ones? Weak spots adjacent to this card. Does that mean adjacent to its weak spot on the board? Or does it mean adjacent? I think maybe it actually means these ones. And that we probably played this wrong because we did we damaged these. Weak spots adjacent to this card. Yeah, because the likelihood that you have this E2 weak spot and these other weak spots are actually active is probably pretty low. It probably means these ones, which means we screwed up. So what's the fairest way to resolve this would be just to undo this thing, right? We haven't taken any damage, and we haven't dealt any either. And then this would have activated when this came out, which means if in A or ground, which we're not, so we don't take any damage anyway. Okay, so we've reconciled that. It's fair, it's fine. And we can continue going and fighting our E1 spot. We can go punish this guy. So let's do that. We got a bunch of attack cards. This strong swing does a bunch of damage when we we want to save this one. We want to one tap this guy's arm or something, like cut it off, you know? So we have to get over to E1. So that's going to involve moving and dropping, which might be a little challenging to do, honestly. What we can do is let's take a fearless action. So we'll take a wound in order to drop. So we'll drop down to C2, and then our first action is going to be the old momentum blade. You know, this allows us to move up to 2 and then attack for 3. So we're just going to move 1 and attack for 3. So we'll do 3 damage right to this spot here. Nice. And then our second attack, we can use our strong slash, but that's only going to let us do 1 damage right now. We play it here, and it's damage equal to the number of eyeball icons on that row. That's only 1. That sucks. We don't want to do that. But at the same time, this requires us to move. I mean, we could always move away. Let's do that. So let's do our dash and slash. We can resolve these 2 actions in any order. So we'll attack for 2. This is almost a scar, which is great. And then we have to move up to 2. So, what do we got left here? We got ones that let us drop, ones that let us drop and move. Our strong attack, which we really want to not keep. Let's just move into E2. We'll stay in E. We can't get away. We can only move to D or E. So this is going to hit us next time anyway. Yeah. Okay. And we'll do our refresh phase. We're going to discard that strong swing. We're going to hold on to that for later. We are going to need to do some dropping. So we're going to keep these 2 drop cards. Draw 3 more. What do we got? We got the jump bomb. Classic move. You know? Classic. Lets us leap. A couple spots. So that's and throw a bomb. So that is quite flexible. The jump slash, which lets us do some melee attacks and leap. This one is another icon-driven one. We don't have any of those hand icons out yet, so that's kind of wimpy for now. And then we got the skilled shot, which we've seen before, which lets us do damage equal to our eyeball icons. That said, we have to first deal with our friendly, not so friendly Earth Giant here. So he's going to attack here. We did not wound this one. It says if in A/ground, then suffer 3 wounds. So that's a massive attack, right? That's a third of our health. We are not in A or on the ground. So this is going to miss us. Now, because it was activated but missed, we're going to apply, he's going to become enraged, essentially, right? So this is going to give an additional effect that's going to happen when we do get hit. And every time he swings and misses, this is going to tick up, okay? I think I'm doing that correctly. I think he only gains rage when it's actually activated. Oh no, for example, if it's wounded or scarred. Okay, so he should have gained rage last time too. So he's really pissed off. And that's just going to keep on increasing. And when we inevitably get hit, right now we'd suffer an extra wound. And I think maybe, is this cumulative? We also throw away cards from our deck, which makes us lose the game faster, which we don't really want, you know? Next to and below. Okay, so this is cumulative. So currently, when we inevitably suffer an attack from the monster, we're going to lose a card from the top of our deck. That's one of our loss conditions if our deck is out of cards. I think it's 30 cards to start with. So 1 is a decent amount. We're going to suffer an extra wound, and then if this keeps going up, we're going to lose an additional card. So 2 cards off the top of our deck. This forces us to drop and take a wound, and stunned is like miss a turn or something, you know, something generally awful. So overall, the Earth Giant's getting pissed off, and we don't love that. We don't love that. All right, are there any matchy-matchies? There are not. So this icon does not match the symbols on the other ones. It's some fancy teal grid thing. Doesn't match any of the other ones, so we do not suffer a second attack. And we're going to keep on keeping on. So, what do we got? We're getting stronger. We're actually developing some icons here. We have the same ones in both row. Or each row. That was a complete coincidence. We'd really like to do 2 damage to this spot, because then it will become scarred. 3 scars and we win the game. Otherwise we have to, you know, do 35 damage. So 3 scars is maybe as low as 21 instead of 35, right? It's substantially less. And scarred cards are flipped over, they don't activate. you know, that sort of thing. So we could perform a skilled shot. This lets us do a ranged attack equal to our eyeball icons. If we do that here, then we attack an adjacent spot for 2 damage, which could be this one. So that will take our 2 damage from here. We now have 7 on this card. That means it's scarred. So these are all going to go away, and we're going to flip these over. So we're taking those from the Giants' like health pool. An important thing is we can't like do over damage when we're scarring. The number on the card is like the limit. So if I'd done 5 damage, I still would have only taken 2 markers. So this worked out essentially exactly correct, right? We've scarred that. That's great. Now, we probably want to hustle out of here. We either want to face tank this wound plus an extra one and lose a card, or we want to run away and just let that rage bar keep increasing. Surely we run away. So we want to get out of D or E, which is the area that we're in right now. Like we're way up here. We want to get down to this spot. So we got to drop 2, right? So is that something we can actually do? Not really. We can drop 1 with this card. We also, let's figure out how this attack works, the firebomb here. Deal the number of wounds shown to each adjacent weak spot, as well as the one you are currently on. Okay, so it's like an AoE attack. So I mean, he can take damage to everywhere in C. That's kind of interesting. We could do an AoE attack. We do damage to this card and this card. That's kind of an okay idea. We really don't want this to happen. It's bad. Let's try that. Okay, so we're going to play our dive bomb here. And we got 2 options. We can get rid of this card. This isn't going to hurt us unless we're in D or E. So we don't actually have to worry about this card. So let's, before we activate our dive bomb, we'll spend 1 wound in order to drop 1. And then we'll drop another one. And we'll activate our dive bomb. So we're going to do damage to all the adjacent weak spots. So the whole entirety of C is open. So we'll do damage to C1, 2, and 3. So that's 3 damage on this card. We'll do damage to E1, but it's not a weak spot. And we'll do damage to B3, also not a weak spot. But we still put up 3 damage with an attack of 1, which is pretty okay. We could have worse problems. We also finally got some of these hand symbols out, so those strong strikes and whatnot aren't going to be worthless anymore. Okay, so are there any cards here that we want to get rid of? These let us leap. This lets us move a lot. I don't know if we need to move a lot right now. We're kind of... I don't know if turning it over, though, is useful. What do we need to do? We really want to put up a ton of damage on C. Let's discard this card and hope we get like some beefy attacks. Skilled swing, not bad. Sprint climb, not the most useful. Lets us climb 4. And a piercing blade. Okay, so this lets us do 3 damage, and this lets us do damage equal to our hand icons, which would probably be 3 as well. We could actually probably scar this next round. But let's see how it goes. So, Earth Giant is going to activate. If in D or E, then we suffer a wound. We are not, which means he's more angry. Okay, because we're down in C2. And we're going to flip out another card, and if it's matchy-matchy, we're going to suffer the consequences. This is matchy-matchy, but it's matchy-matchy for our wounded one. This was a rules thing that was unclear think it's cards that have at least one wound token on them do not wound your Wraith or apply their text effect unless it says otherwise. Okay, so this is a matchy-matchy, but doesn't actually do anything bad to us, but he still gets more pissed off. All right. So, if we want to get this Scar, it's now or never, right? It's this turn or not at all. I think it's totally worth doing that. 3 Scars and we win. So, we can do a fearless action. We'll suffer a wound. We can do up to 9, right? Tough. And that will allow us to do... I'm going to have to make some change here. That will allow us to do 1 damage to this spot. So it's at 4 right now. We can do that a second time, I guess. And it's at 5. And then we can use our piercing blade here. It's going to do 3 damage to the spot we're on, which is in this C region. So 8 damage, and then we can make a skilled swing. So this is going to do damage equal to the number of hand icons we have in that row. So we've got 1, 2, 3. So it's going to do an additional 3 damage. So overall, we've done 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. And this one is now scarred as well. So that's our whole turn. He's obviously not going to hit us. Scarred cards obviously can't be activated by the ones we're putting out either. So that's great. I think they remain in the row. Yep, that's right. But they're still going to piss him off. Okay. I don't know that we're ever going to need to climb 4. That just seems not very useful. Let's just discard that. That'll be a problem for future James. We'll pick up our 3 cards. And he's going to get more angry. But we're close to killing him. He's 2/3 dead. And this one is going to make this one activate. Okay, if in A, B, or on the ground, then suffer a wound. But we are not. We're happily in C. So he swings and misses again. The Earth Giant is kind of slow. All right. If you were wounded by this card, you must discard your hand. Yeek. We don't like that. Oh my god, I got another sprint climb. And a skilled climb. It just really wants us to climb. Okay, let's pick a card that we think that we can do enough damage to that we can scar it. This one, I don't think we have enough time. This card here is in A3. It's close to where we are right now. But I don't, like, we'd have to do it this round and next round, and we'd have to put up 7 damage. That feels unlikely. These cards are both in C2. So, that's weird. I think we divide it between the 2 of them. Probably. Okay, yeah, we distribute them however we see fit. Okay. Well, we could just do, like, we're on this spot, and it's the card that gives us the most opportunity. So let's just try and attack that one then. Why overcomplicate things? We don't have a lot of attacking ability here. We're not very proficient, but what we can do is we can do all of our sweet moves. This is our moment. Okay, so we're going to do a jump slash. This is going to let us attack for 4, which is wild. Boom. And then we can leap. So we will leap to here. Oh, that should be... Oh. I have to play my first card in the first row. So I can't actually do the jump slash. Well, that's stupid. Nobody liked that. Okay, well, we're going to do the jump bomb instead. So we're going to play our jump bomb. That lets us leap and bomb. So we're going to do the bomb right here. It's going to hit all the adjacent spots. But actually, we can do the bomb after. We're going to leap and then bomb. So it's going to hit all the adjacent spots. That means it's going to hit... I guess I got to get change again. It's going to hit A3, C2, D1, which is this card, I guess. And this one's also C2, so we're just going to ignore that one. Boom! Our jump bomb was, like, extremely effective. And then we're going to do the old jump slash. We're going to jump right back to where we were and slash for 4 damage. There we go. He's down to 9 health. So that's pretty okay. And we just got to do 3 more to get this scar out, and we're good. So let's get rid of our climbing cards. We're on the spot where we need to be in. We don't need those. I mean, strictly speaking, can I take any number of fearless actions? Because I could just do 3 fearless, 1 damage and win right now, right? Put him down immediately. You can take at any time. So I think we can do multiple fearless actions. Okay, let's just do that. I'm not going to play another turn. We're going to suffer 3 wounds to put up 3 more damage on this Earth Giant card. And then it's scarred and we immediately win. Boom. Earth Giant be damned. We beat him. Okay, so what have we learned from this so far? I'm assuming the Earth Giant is like easy mode, because that wasn't that bad. As we scale into the game, we essentially play through all 4 giants as young Wraith, and then if we play through it again as adult Wraith or elder Wraith, they have a bigger health pool. But the scarring works the same, right? So, I don't know that would change the difficulty curve there a ton. I don't know. We'll have to see. But we had, quite a few cards left. We had a 10 here, another 5 or so here. So we only went through about half of our deck. We at no point actually got hit by the giant. That's something I'm expecting is going to get harder with the other giants. It seems reasonable to expect that. Bring on the sweet moves. It's true. Listen, I'm jumping and throwing bombs, leaping and stabbing stuff. What's not to like? All right. So, let's check the order here. It tells me the Wraith order, in case I didn't realize that Elder comes after Adult. I mean, it's nice that they show the iconography at least. But, what I really wanted to know is what giant comes next. So we defeated the Earth Giant. I'll say casually. It was not Karg. And now it's on to the Water Giant. So, I don't think there's anything to do between games other than to just set it up, but let's double check. Okay. So, one thing that also might have influenced things that we don't know is when we were setting this up, we set aside 5 cards at random from the Earth Giants deck. So maybe we put aside all of the like brutal ones. No idea, right? But young Wraith has an opportunity to triumph again. I assume that we heal between each thing. That was a weird assumption that I made. It does not say. Just saying that we set it up as described. I think these are individual things. Yeah, I think we fully rest before the next giant arrives. We're going to assume that that's true. The easy mode kind of feels like a trap. Why does it feel like a trap? It's going to make us complacent, so we're doing all the cool moves or throwing jump bombs and bull crap like that, and then this ice giant just, or water giant rather, just, you know, kills us immediately. Just plucks us out of the air and like, poof, you know. This one looks cooler, for sure. I like the art on this one better. Though it does look very frosty more than watery. But that's okay. So he's got a limit of 3 scars still. He has 40 plus 5, 45 health. The other guy had 35. So substantially more if we're not killing him with scars. And the scar cards might be a lot harder. Like, you know, we get a whole separate deck here for this guy. Let's take a look. The water giant cards. Now the giant will hit once and we are unalived. There you go. Yep. Let me take a quick look here and see. Curiosity. Extreme lack of info about this game. Though almost everything is rules questions. Interesting. I just wanted to see, is there an easy, quick answer of, you know, well, whatever. Let's see here. Out of curiosity. All right. I'm going to say we heal up each time. We're just going to do that. I'm not going to mess around with it. If that's hilariously easy or something, then so be it. All right. We get a hand of 5 cards to start. And we got to shuffle up the Water Giants cards. Let's get an idea here, just to see. Okay, yeah, it feels like these kind of went up by 1, call it, right? These are, the lowest I've seen in this deck is, oh, there's 1/7. Maybe it's about the same, actually. We might have just got a really easy deal and got all those easy scarring cards for the Earth Giant. But there was 2 or 3 7s in here as well. So I guess we'll see. So we're going to shuffle up the Water Giants deck here, which also feels thinner. I don't know if it is. That's probably me making things up. But we're going to take 5 cards out. So they just do not exist in our game, rightly or wrongly. Is that all the 7s and 8s? Probably. Just to, you know, make us suffer for how well we did last time. Well, we just found a 7 immediately, so I guess not. But, oh man, the Water Giant looks so much angrier. Holy crap, the Earth Giant was just like, get away, I want to go back to sleep. And this guy is like growling. I don't know how the Water Giant has teeth. Like, he looks like Venom or something. But nonetheless, we pissed that guy off. All right. So, what do we got here? We got 3 paths up the giant this time instead of 2. We're on the ground, which is like the ocean, you know. He's weak in A1. We can chip away at his cutesy little leg here. Otherwise, it's C2, which is way over here, his other leg. Or, oh, well, these spots are like the zones are kind of a little different. D, this whole area over here, his back, I guess. E, his head in front. And D3 specifically, this one. But that's the first card, so there's ain't no way we're sprinting all the way up to the top of this guy. Also, do we swim up a Water Giant? Like, we're not climbing him. How does that work? I don't know, really. But, anyways, we'll give it a try anyhow. So we start with a hand of 5 cards. And it's time. So, what can we do? We can climb. We can climb 3. We can attack based on our number of eye icons. It doesn't have one on here, so this is probably 0. So we're not using that one. We can do the old jump bomb. Worked for us last time. You know, lets us leap. Leap lets us move up or down. And then do bomb. So bomb is a spot and any adjacent spots as well. So that could be situationally useful. But probably more up here, D and E is where we really have a lot of adjacency, where we're going to be able to do some big damage with that. We got the old Swift Stride that lets us just leap a lot, and a Seeking Shot, which once again, so our only way to do damage right now is actually with this Jump Bomb. And this card in particular, well, this one in particular is super worthless until we get some icons built up. So that's a discard for sure. This is a maybe discard, probably a discard. We don't have any eye icons to put out, so this is like, will do nothing for us. So we probably want to get the old Jump Bomb in here. And the question is, do we want to climb up first? Now, this first attack is going to do damage to us in D or E. So the easiest thing to do is to stay further down this guy. So this spot B3 is almost amazing, but if we did the bomb there, it's adjacent to both E and D. That'd be both of these cards. That'd be pretty good. And it's out of D or E. So we want to get to here and do our jump bomb, basically. So let's climb. Let's path climb. So we're gonna swiftly go up the path. I don't know that it matters. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, and then we're gonna do the old jump bomb here. And we're going to leap 1, bonk, and then do a bomb. So this is gonna hit this spot and all adjacent ones. Now B3 isn't one of the weak spots, but we do hit D1 and E1. Oh, I didn't set up his health. Let's do that. That's an important thing. He has 45 health, so we need 10 of these to get 30. All right, so this is 30. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 30. Call that 36. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ugh. Oh my god. 9. Okay, there we go. We got his health set up. And we're going to do damage to D and E. 1 damage to each. Oh, we don't want to do this text at all. It's really good. Remove 2 wounds from each weak spot and place them back into the giant's health pool. So those don't activate if we've wounded it. So that was a super useful move for us to do, kind of without knowing. All right, this rage bar is reset. So if in D or E, then lose a card and take 2 wounds. We are not in D or E, so he will miss, but get a little pissed off. Okay, we're then going to put out a new card, and if there's any matchy-matchies, they will activate. Oh, damn, we're already doing worse than last game. We failed to... I feel like we should yell parkour every so often. Okay, we'll try to remember that for the jump bombs. Okay? I'm with you. All right, so matchy-matchy icons are bad. This one doesn't activate, but the one that it's beside does. Now I chose not to set off the bomb so that we could hit C2, so that sucks. But if in B or C, which we're in B3, then we lose the top 2 cards of our deck, so they're just discarded, I think, out of the game. Yeah, so we just have 2 fewer cards. It's one of our loss conditions, right? And we suffer a wound, which comes from the main pool, not from the giant. But you'll recall we pissed him off, so we actually lose a 3rd card. We just lost like 10% of our deck, like that. if I was being really fair, which I am going to be, we would have done our stuff first, actually. So we would have drawn these cards and discarded other ones. I'm discarding the Swift Stride. These actually would have been the cards we drew, but then we're losing 3 at random. Fabulous. And taking a wound. But he's no longer angry. Or that angry. He's only a little angry. Okay. So. Oh my god, we're getting all of the cards that do stuff with icons. We literally do not have a card in our hand that isn't icon based. At least these ones have the icon on it. So it won't do 0. But that one, Seeking Shot, we got the Endurance Climb. We got the Swift Stride, which lets us move around a bunch, but does give us those eyeball icons. So that might be useful just to put out, just to pad things. Because, hey look, another eyeball one with no eyeball icons on it. Whoops. And another one also with no eye icons on it. So that's disappointing. We also don't have any of those played yet. So it might be time to fix that. Now, what do we need to do? We're not scarring these. There's no way we're doing 11 damage. We hardly can attack at all, right? So we want to probably put out some wounds here so that these don't activate, because that throwing out these cards sucks. So we need to hit C2, A1, and C3. Okay, so these ones are very achievable. This one less so. We'll worry about that one later. That's a problem for future James. Future Wraith. Okay, so we can make this work, maybe. Sorta. A little bit. Okay, we're gonna play our Swift Stride. This lets us move, climb, and drop. So we're gonna climb 1 just because we have to. Then we can drop any number. So we can just drop 1, 2. We want to drop 2 or 3. We want to do damage to C2 and C3. I think we want to drop 2. This is kind of janky. We're having to make this work, and it's a little iffy. Oh, none of these other ones can do damage. Unless played on a spot with an eyeball, which we don't have any of them. Oh, that's so irritating. Okay. So you know what? We're just going to drop all the way down to C2. And then we're going to take a damage in order to do a fearless action. And stab him. So we'll stab him in C2. That gives us 3 rounds where we're not getting hit. That's pretty huge. And then for our second action, we'll just do an endurance climb here. And we're just going to climb 1 back. Now, we can play some of these cards that are going to actually do damage up here and do at least 2, which will be handy. But it'd be great if we could do more than 2. So I think we're going to discard this card. That will be extremely valuable later. And we're going to draw back up to 5. We got all the icon cards again. We literally got a downgraded version of the card we had. I guess it has it on it, though. Okay, we got some eyeballs on our cards. That's really good. All right, he's going to activate his card here, but it's wounded, so it's not going to do anything. He gets angry. We're going to flip out this other one. There's no matchy-matchies, so nothing happens. And it is our next turn. So we are on the spot that we want to be doing damage to, but actually doing damage to it is remarkably challenging. I'm about to go. I mean, can we just do the damage to C2 instead? No, not really. Can I get a scar on there fast enough? I could do 3 damage now. Or 2, yeah, I can do 3 damage this turn to it. Maybe. No, I can't. Because I stayed on C3. Ugh! Okay, we're just going to do this strong swing here on C3. So we'll do 2 damage to this. Bonk. And then we are going to do a seeking shot. Oh, that requires us to climb. I thought it was not climb. Ooh, that sucks. Okay, we'll just do the skilled shot then. And we'll just hit C2 anyway. That sucks, but whatever. We're getting some icons out. Or, you know what? What we could do instead... I kind of need these icons. I'm very tempted. You know what? Let's do this. Let's do the skilled climb. Let's min-max here. Let's do some matchy-matchies. Where we're going to climb, even though that's not helpful right now. Because then we've got these 3 hand icons on here. And that means that we can potentially do some big damage. And we're just going to climb to the crotch of the monster. Right here in the center. I don't make the rules. It's the only reasonable spot to go to. Alright. So, this isn't going to activate because it's wounded. And he's going to be pissed off. We're going to flip out another one. Which has 2 matchy-matchies that don't activate because they're wounded. So he gets really pissed off. That's unfortunate. Okay. We want to be doing damage to C3, right there. Alright, so we're going to play a skilled shot. That's going to let us do damage to an adjacent spot equal to the eyeballs we have. We have 1, 2, 3. That is 3 damage onto C3. Beautiful. And then we can do a seeking shot here. Oh, that lets us only do 1 damage and we need to do 2. It doesn't have an eyeball on it. How irritating. I mean, we don't have to do the wounds to this now. It would just feel nice to do so. We could take a wound in order to drop, and then we could hit it with a piercing blade. That's definitely an option. It would get wounded immediately. Or we could not do that. Why do we suck at archery? Our vision is so poor. Irritating? Yeah, I could say that, but then I'd feel like I'd think less of myself, you know? And that would be a shame. We wouldn't want that. Man, it's so close and yet so far. And I don't think there's a good way for me to use my cards. Like, we got a bunch of climbing cards, which we need next turn. Okay, let's just do it. We'll take a damage in order to drop. And then we'll use a piercing blade. We'll stab this guy in the knee as much as a water monster has a knee for 3 damage. That's only going to do 2, because then we're at the limit here, but this is scarred and we are happy. Boom. We need 4 or 3 scars in order to win the game. And we can probably discard one of these sprint climbs, because we kind of need more icons. I feel like we're going to get a run of needing these hand icons, though, and we don't have any up here. Let's believe that that's what's going to happen. Oh, oh, look at that. Immediately, we're about to get handsy with this water giant. Let's go. All right. So his attack doesn't happen because it's wounded, but he's extremely angry, and we're gonna get really hurt that when we actually do get hit, which might be right now. Okay, there's no matchies on this symbol, so nothing happens. We'll get stunned. We'll lose 2 additional health and 2 additional cards. Stunned means our first action play does nothing. Kind of lose half of a turn. It's really bad. And we've got a nice diversity of icons here. We got red and yellow and teal and white. We got a little bit of everything represented. So we're really likely to get attacked next time. We may not be in that zone. I don't know. But anyhow. All right, what are we going to do here? We're going to do some damage. So what's new? B6 is an option here. Where the hell is B6? Way at the top. Or D2 over here. We kind of don't want to be in section D. That rhymed. Because these both attack on that. These attack on these. So we kind of want to be in section C if at all possible, which is where we are now. But in section C we can't actually do any damage to anything. So that's really disappointing. This is A1. There's no way we're getting down there to do damage. So we don't want to be in A or B. We definitely don't want to be in B. So maybe we go into B, do some damage to this, and then skedaddle. Is that an option? We could sprint climb it. Yeah, we can do this. We can do this. Look, we'll sprint climb. This gives us 4 movement and puts one of those hand icons up here so it's not totally worthless. So we can go 1, 2, 3, 4. We swam like crazy. We would yell parkour, but we're drinking in ocean water. You know, like, glug, glug, glug. So, yeah, can't quite do it. But then we can do our jump slash. This is our parkour moment. Parkour! So we stab him for 4 damage. Right in his B6, whatever that is, his shoulder blade. And then we leap away for 1. And we're going to leap. I thought that was actually drop, and it isn't. Well, we don't want to be in D. The safest place we can be is C, but we're not getting there this time. We're just leaping over to E, and it's less likely we take damage. But it could still be bad. But we did 4 damage, and we're happy about that. You know? We like that a lot. And we got a good little mix of mobility and damage. I think we need damage way more than we need mobility, honestly. At least at this point. So we'll discard one of those. And then if in A or B we take a bunch of damage, we are not. So he still remains extremely angry. Thank you for trying. There we go. And what's he do? He gets the no matchy. Nice. Okay. Okay. We're doing it. We got 2 rounds where we're not going to take any damage. We want to do a bunch of damage to B6, and then we want to stay... I mean, if we do this damage, then we can stay in B and be safe. So, how are we going to make that happen? This will let us attack equal to our eyeballs in an adjacent spot, which if we played this here, lets us attack for 4, which is exactly what we need to do this. Boom. 4 damage. This is scarred. Done. Just like that. Boom. Okay. And then if we wanted to start working on one of these, we want to be in section B. It's the safest place for us to be. We need to do damage to E3, which is adjacent to where we are. E3, adjacent to where we are, or D2, which is way over here. So the most practical thing to do would be to do some damage to this, and then climb away. So we can do that this way. Our seeking shot. We're going to shoot for 3 damage onto E3. Bonk. Or do we want to do that on this E3? If you were wounded by this card, add 1 wound token to the Giant's pool from the supply. We don't really care. Both of these are bad. It's like a rando guess. This one's easier for us to win the game, though. So let's do that. And then we move up to 2. We're going to move to here, into B6, or safe-ish. So his Scar isn't going to do anything. He's going to continue to be even more ragey. He's angsty. He's a teenage water giant. And no matchy-matchies. We've cycled them out basically perfectly. By absolute coincidence. And I forgot to draw cards, but that's okay. Alright, we got the old dash and slash. You know, 2 damage. And the old skilled swing. This would be a great one for us on that bottom row. It would do 5 damage. So that's pretty cool. We like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to win the game this time. So we're going to take 1 damage in order to drop down to E4. Then we're going to do the old dash and slash. We can climb up to E3 and do 2 damage. Whatever. I'm not making change. We'll do 2 damage. And then we'll take a skilled swing and we'll do 5 damage to it. And that gets us we're doing 7 damage this round. We already have 3 there. But that will get us our 3rd Scar. And we win. We'll say that one felt a little bit spicier for sure. We had 6 cards left in our deck. And yeah, we only had 10 cards left. So that was a lot closer in that regard. And he was extremely angry. Like, if we got hit, we'd probably lose, right? So, that's okay, though. We did it. We defeated the angsty water giant. Glug, 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 glug. I wonder, what kind of cards did we end up taking out? Did we cycle out all the really hard ones? Oh, we got a 12. Yikes. Add 5 wound tokens to the Giant's health pool. Okay. I mean, it's interesting. I feel like you could just really move around a ton and have, like, you really spread out your damage, and you're just, like, it's a war of attrition where you're trying to kill them, but you're not really scarring them, right? That feels really suboptimal. You'd never take damage, essentially. But it feels like it would take forever. Like, he still had half his health left when we won. I don't know. Anyhow, water giant, dead. What is next after the water giant? Nope. The air giant. All right, let's do this. This air giant has never seen this amount of teenage angst. Doesn't know what's coming. Whoa. There is little in the world that comes on as suddenly and to terrify the masses as a tornado or the looming wall of debris and destruction at the edge of a hurricane. An air giant is more devastating than both. It is a frightening mixture of swirling dust, detritus, uprooted trees, and the battered bodies of all who were not fast enough to avoid its path. Damn, okay. Unlike the other giants that rise and plague this world, the air giant is not completely solid. Made from wind itself, it takes form as a thunderstorm, containing lightning, thunder, and everything the beast has swept up into its body. Its limbs are merely extensions of this tumult, forming legs despite not needing them, and arms for nothing short of annihilating anything it touches. Well, it's kind enough to have a very humanoid form, even though it obviously does not need to. So that's kind of cool. So it's nice enough to let us climb it. We're climbing on broken tree limbs. There's a lot of parkour opportunity for sure. So what do we get? We get 30, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, 36. And then we'll put 9 singletons. That's what we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know why I counted those wrong. I did. 8, 9. Alright, that's 45. 45 wounds on this air giant. Alright. Air giant cards. There have to be fewer of these. I swear it says there's like 20 of each, but I don't know. Maybe it's just this nice, crisp, unused deck. It feels extremely thin, you know? All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These get set aside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do we got, Mr. Air Giant? 8, 11, 9. Oh. Okay, so this is a little bit different. We're getting a little bit more stuff happening now. So notably, this card affects us anywhere. If anywhere, then drop 2 footholds and take 1 wound. If you cannot drop the full amount, move to the ground and take 2 wounds. Okay, so this hits us no matter what, unless we put up some damage in section B, which seems attainable, right? And this one is always active. You must discard all but 1 card from your hand before refilling. So we can't keep more than 1 hand or 1 card between rounds. Now that doesn't affect the total number of cards we have, but if we have lots of damage and we want to keep it, we're screwed, right? And always active, I think, like these ones, that's inclusive of if we had a wound on it, it still affects it. Always means always, I do believe. So let's shuffle up our deck here and see. So section B is available. Section or D1 and D2, which are over here, his sort of right arm, and E2 and E4. Oh, they're not adjacent. It's actually quite a little path down to get to those. E4 is way out of the way, so this way we are never doing. So we don't want to be in C or E at the end of this. And 11 damage to section B by next turn feels unlikely. So we probably want to focus on, you know, this D action. Yeah, that sounds really bad. Section D1 and D2. And if we can hit B along the way so that we don't have to drop down, then that would be cool. That'd be cool. We also, once again, got a nice, like, we have every symbol represented here, I think, so we're probably taking additional damage. We'll see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do we get? What are our tools available for this? We can climb. We can make a swift stride, so we can leap. We're climbing really fast. We're leaping even faster. We're dive bombing, okay? So when the entire section B or whatever is available, like from B2, for instance, that would let us you know, hit all 3 of those. Kind of cool. A strong swing, which isn't that strong because we don't have any of those icons yet, or we're climbing the path. So I feel like, you know, the fact that you need the iconography for a lot of cards makes it feel really kind of early. We're just not doing a lot. And our only path is we have to climb right here. We have to go up this mysterious looming tornado hanging down between his legs. We're going to not think too much about that. And we're just going to hold on and climb it. So we don't want to end up in... I mean, every section is bad. And we're kind of far away from doing any damage to anything. But we want to get up towards his right arm here. D1, D2. I think that's achievable. If we had a bow, we would kind of hit B on the way, but we largely do not have that available to us. So let's get climbing. We'll swiftly go 1, 2, 3, 4, sprint climb, and then so where are we now? A4. So that's not a thing we can hit. I mean, we could dive bomb into section C. Oh no, C is not one of the ones we can hit either. Why did I think it was? I don't know. I mean, we could dive bomb into section B and hit this. That would give us, we'd do that 3 damage. I mean, it's a good opportunity to do 3 damage, makes this card not affect us anymore. Kind of eradicates our big climb. Here, let's retcon that and say that I was smart and I only climbed 3. And then we'll dive bomb. So we'll drop 2 to here and do this damage. So we'll hit this spot and all adjacent spots, which means we do 3 damage to B. Boom. All right. So if in C or E, then take 2 damage. We're not, so he gets angry at us. Just the way it's gonna go. I think we're pissing off these elementals a lot. They just seem like generally grumpy, you know? Is this matchy-matchy? No, it isn't. It would have been matchy-matchy with the card we just discarded. Okay, so nothing else happens. Ooh, but we have to always discard all but 1 card. Probably we would have kept our climbing card because we want to get up very far. So I'm going to draw 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this next thing isn't going to do damage to us. I don't think we're putting up 8 more damage on this turn. Interestingly, we can do 5, but 5 is not 8. But of course, we're going to throw these cards away. These are good early cards because they do damage that isn't related to the icons. Like, even by the time we'd played 4 or 5 cards, cards with icons on them were generally better, right? So it might be best for us just to do the damage and move a little bit now. Just to use up these cards because we know we're going to have to otherwise discard them. And these are good early cards. So let's do that. We'll do Piercing Blade. So we'll stab him in his knee for 3. And then we'll dash and slash. And we'll actually slash and dash because we're going to hit him for 2. And then we're going to run away 2 spots over to A3. Which is a pretty safe place to be. This card does damage on A, but there's no real avoiding that. Okay, so this one isn't going to activate, so he gets pissed off, and these are out. We've done 8 damage so far, not bad. Are there any matchy-matchies? There are. So the matchy-matchy is this one. If in B or E, then lose 2 cards and take 2 damage. We are not in B or E, we are in A. So we just deftly avoided his attack, but he gets even more ragey. The angst increases. And I once again forgot to discard down to 1 card. This is the only time we're going to have to do that. Then that card's gone. We don't have a lot of eye icons yet. but we don't have 0. This could be 2 damage. Would that be something we would have kept? I don't think so. We don't really want to do damage to adjacent to where we are. And we wouldn't have known that B1 came out yet. So I think I would have kept the big climbing card again. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, no laughing at me, Martina. Who invited you anyway? Okay, this is another early game card, right? 3 damage. I don't think our dreams of doing damage to these ones swiftly is ever happening. Like, I think we gotta just shift gears and either move over to section E or something. This is suddenly movement is more valuable this time compared to the previous ones. We're more restricted on this elemental than we were previously. So B1, 9 damage. I mean, it's right there. We could also just focus up on this and just go smash him in the kneecap repeatedly. You know, that's definitely an option. We can almost do it this turn, actually. Let's do that. Let's stay where we're at. We need 4 scars to win this time, so we got to get started sooner rather than later. And we want to take opportunities to do damage, I think, without movement. We could min-max and greed for it too, though. We can only keep 1 card. Ooh, I don't know. Okay, so let's spend a thing to drop. We're going to just drop down here. We're then going to use our momentum blade. So we're going to move 1 and attack for 3. Boom. Right in the kneecap, or the thigh. His upper air thigh. His thigh gap. We attacked it. And then we need to use another card. Is there somewhere we want to be more? We don't really want to be in B, right? This one's going to activate, and we don't want to be in A either. We don't want to be in any of these places, which feels rather impossible to avoid. But we want to make this endurance climb because we want to use up this card that has 2 hand icons on it. So we can climb 1. We have to climb 1. We're moving to A3. That's just the way it's going to be. We're keeping our skilled swing. And then we're suffering the consequences of the angry, angsty air monster who I made fun of his thigh gap. So, always a good thing when dealing with angry elementals. Okay, always active. You must discard all but 1 card from your hand. If in A or D, then lose a card. That's this one. Take a wound. You don't get to take it from there. And we suffer the extra consequences here because of the rage. So 2 additional cards and 1 additional wound. But we still don't get to take it from his health pool, though. Yikes. Okay, and then are there any extras? Once again, that was like uniquely lined up. So that was the one we just moved away. So we don't get any extra attacks. But we kind of got a... He didn't like that thigh gap remark, I guess. Okay, so we no longer have to discard down to 1. Oh, wait. When revealed, you must drop 1 foothold. Okay, we'll drop down to B1. If I have to. You know? So, our skilled swing now does 5 damage. Which is kind of what we wanted. But only when we play it second. Which is a problematic part of it. So, we're going to just use our strong swing. We don't really want to do that, but it works out exactly right. So we're going to do 1 damage to B1. And then we're going to do our skilled swing, and we're going to do 5 damage to B1. And that is a scar. Boom. And we don't have to discard down to 1, but we might want to get rid of some of these. I mean, this is our jump slash. This is our parkour moment, right? Because that's going to do 6 damage if we play it second. So we definitely want to hang on to that one. This lets us move like a lot also. So power jump is pretty good. And the jump bomb just looks cool. Are there good opportunities for this? All of section E is available because of this card. But actually getting there might be really hard. You know, our power jump is going to get us kind of halfway there. Our jump bomb, probably not the rest of the way. Let's just keep all of our cards and see what happens. They seem strong. They seem strong. Okay. Did I just resolve this? No. We got the scar. Okay. Oh, I didn't move away. Let's pretend I had not been foolish and I had taken a wound to move into A, because then I wouldn't be taking this damage. But he would be raging. That's okay. He's angsty. We always knew it. Are there any matchy-matchies? Oh, there's 2. Shit. Okay. So this is if we're in B or E, which we are not, thankfully. So we're going to take an extra rage. And then this one is if anywhere, which is always true. Drop 2 full footholds and take 1 wound. That sucks. No, why don't I just move all of these down here so I'm not reaching so painfully to get them each time. All right. This is his supply and the general supply. Easy. That sucks. We would have taken 2 wounds if we couldn't move the full amount. Okay, well that really messes up our plans for sprinting up there and stabbing him in his air shoulder. You know? That sucks. So, yeah, we got a bunch that let us fall. That's not going to help us whatsoever because we're like at the bottom. 3 of our cards let us drop, but we're at the bottom right now. And the others let us leap, which generally involves moving less, right? So, I think we got to focus on the fact that this one came out and is an A4. That's right here, right in his gut. That is targetable area. So I think we gotta make that happen. Because otherwise we're just sad, you know? Sitting here doing a whole lot of nothing. So we're gonna do a power jump. Okay, we're gonna wind up here. This has a drop and a leap. So we're gonna drop down and go whoa, and jump 1, 2, 3. Just like that. And then we're gonna embrace the old parkour. The old parkour jump slash. Or we're gonna jump 1, and we're gonna attack for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom. Solid move. Now, generally I need to be moving up. All of these other cards are in E, which we haven't been able to get to. This Falling Blade I'm going to keep just because it could work really well for putting up lots of damage really fast. But the Dive Bomb's got to go. 1, 2, 3. Okay. What's our friend going to do here? If in B or E, we are not. So he is angry. More ragey. Are there matchy-matchies? Yes, there are, but they match the one that we just damaged. So he's more ragey. I think that was on the 4th spot, or should be on the 4th spot. Okay, when revealed, you must drop 1 foothold. Annoying. Keeps knocking us down. Okay, so this is A5. So A4 and A5, kind of a big deal. Maybe we just give up on ever getting to E. We have this Firestorm. We've never seen this card before. Let's just do just 2 damage where we're at. It's the AoE one. That would be great on those E spots. But getting there is just not easy. Okay, so let's do this. We're gonna make a quick shot. That just lets us do 2 damage. Pew pew. 2 damage to A4. It's almost dead, right? And then we're gonna do the old jump bomb. Parkour! We're gonna leap up to A4 and damage it and every area around it for 1. So that's 1 damage to it, which is a scar. It's 9. Beauty. And that's 1 damage to A5, so that it won't activate anymore. Beautiful. We'll draw 2 cards. We'll just keep what we got. The scar isn't going to do anything, obviously, but it will make him angry. And there's not a ton of matchy-matchy potential. It's only this green thing, which we did not get. Nice. Nice. So now we're going to drop down next round, because this is if anywhere, unless we hit section E, which we're probably not doing. We're standing on A4, so we're really close to our A5 spot here. That's that one. So we could probably put up some damage. We really haven't used our bow a lot, so we're probably going to get a disproportionate amount of bow attacks soon. Because we really haven't seen those. There's one. This one's not one. This one just lets us kick butt. 7 damage with this one right now, which is crazy, but we need 8. And we don't really want to use our health anymore because we're kind of low. So I mean, he's also getting low health. He has 15, 18. Because we've been just putting up lots of damage, it's been like, if we don't have to scar him. If we just get rid of all his health, he also dies. So that's definitely an option. So we could do a light stride. That lets us leap 4. Do we need to do that? No, we're better off doing the sprint climb. That lets us climb 4. So we can just climb up to here. And then we could either, we could just do the old falling blade here, right? Or we're going to fall down to E3. And hit it for 7. So because there's multiple ones that overlap, we can distribute that however we want. So we're going to put 6 of that damage on E3 and just 1 on this card so that we don't have to resolve it. So I guess we draw 2 cards. He's going to be angry because that doesn't happen, but he's already maxed out on rage. That's fine. As long as we don't get the yellow symbol, we're good. And we did not. Okay. So we need to do 11 more damage total or get 2 more scars. 4 damage on this would be a scar. Probably by the time we do 11 damage, he's just dead before we scar him anyway. Oh, that second E card is gone, so our bomb is less effective now, which is a shame. I didn't realize that. That's okay. So, I don't even know if it's worth wounding, honestly. Feels like not really. Or scarring, rather. Because if we resolve this, we're going to do 3 damage, which is not 4, which is what we need. We seem to be 1 short, like, on the regular. Here's what we can do. You know what? Our bomb isn't super useful anymore, so let's just spend it to heal 1. And then we'll use our Seeking Shot now, because now it'll do 4 damage. So then we can move 1, shoot E3 for 4 damage. And that's a scar. So now we just need 1 more scar or 7 damage. So we'll probably do the damage anyway. We're almost out of cards, so we gotta be efficient on doing damage here. We're shuffling. If we run out, if we go to draw and there's none, we lose. So okay, so he's not going to do anything because this is a scar, but he will flip out a card, which could kill us, right? This one will activate if in C or D. We are not, so his rage would increase, but he's already as ragey as can be. Welcome in, Time Roller. Nice to see you. Okay, so we just got to put up some damage here. Period. Where can he get hit? A5, so that's down here. D3, that's here. C2, it's way down here. And B3, way down here. It's like opposite corners from where we are right now. So the most reasonable spot is A5. But actually getting there is somewhat hard to do. All right. So that's a shame. Our light stride will let us get kind of where we need to be. It lets us leap 5. So that's any motion we want, right? So we could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for instance. And then we can just, most of these are safe where we're at. So we're going to take a skilled shot here. That's going to let us do 5 damage to an adjacent spot. So we'll pick A5. He's got 2 health left. Just 2. He's scarred, so he's not going to do anything nasty. I guess we should draw our 2 cards. And we'll see. Is he going to do extra damage here? When revealed, you must drop 1 foothold. Okay, we did. And no matchy-matchies except for the one that we've already got. So we don't care. Okay, this is A2, so we're like adjacent to that. So we can definitely put him down this turn. We just have to do 2 damage, which we can do immediately with our Seeking Shot. We'll just do 3 damage over here to A2, and we win. We put down... I don't know how a bow and arrow is effective against an air elemental, air giant. Frankly, I don't know how a sword is either, but I'm not sure that we care because this guy's dead. So, notably, that one was much harder. Compared to the other 2, movement felt important this time. We needed movement in order to achieve anything, and we were constantly being disrupted by the giant making us drop down. I don't know if that's a peculiarity of the air elemental. Probably. Seems thematically that kind of makes sense. But we'll have to see. So we've got one final elemental, the fire giant, to fight as our final battle as young Wraith. Let's see if we can do it. But that was a nice increase in difficulty. The first 2 felt like really trivial. Something that I'm kind of like not sure that I love is like I like the rage bar here. if you're constantly avoiding attacks, it makes it more punitive when you do get hit. But simultaneously, it feels like either nothing happens or you get like half killed. You know, like the penalties for being hit are extremely high, and it feels like I'm okay with that idea. Something that I don't love about it is that it is a bit determined by RNG, right? The primary thing that's going to cause you to take a hit is when we flip out one of these cards, and you can know what's out and mitigate that to like a degree, but you can't, like, it's not like you can fully mitigate it. I don't know. That hasn't been a problem, but it's just like the opportunity for a feels bad moment where you flipped out the one card that in the deck that's going to kill you is definitely there. Trombone, thanks for that lurk. Didn't even know you were here. Trombone's watching. I don't like when Trombone's talking. Damn. That brings me back. All right. Let's get out our fourth and final elemental for today. The Fire Giant. Oh. Oh. The Fire Giant is a wide boy. Since it sparked to life and became mankind's first elemental tool, fire has both mystified and terrified. The Fire Giant is the personification of the fear and loss and pain that flames and heat have summoned across the generations. Damn. Encased in a shell of eternally churning magma, nothing gets near this titan without some kind of mystic protection against the inferno. The Fire Giant is a volcano on 4 legs, stomping burning a path of molten death everywhere it awkwardly goes. Rivers of lava flow onto the ground beneath it, falling in fiery ribbons anywhere its shifting stone shell cracks or opens. Yawning mouths and opened talons erupt with flame and intense heat, turning everything to ash or fuel for the Fire Giant. Damn, that is intense. This guy looks crazy. Like, I'm not sure what, is that a mouth? Are those eyes? I don't know. Another mouth? Or maybe a different opening? Hard to say. There's a lot going on here. He's a big boy and he looks pissed off. So, let's grab out these Fire Giant cards. Give these a shuffle. Allison, I don't know if you're still in chat, but you'd be happy to hear that Jared came over this week. We laser cut some stuff. That was interesting. It was fun. And I convinced him to come back and do a stream with me. So that's pretty handy. Pretty cool. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are out. Guess we get these back though. 10, 12, 12, 9, 11. Okay, so this is generally high. You know? Nice. Happy to hear that. I'm ready for Hobby James. Nice. Yeah, my space is actually set up like way better than it was. So something that I am trying to figure out exactly how it's going to work, but I want to do, I have a ton of print and play games where either I got copies when I backed a game or I backed a digital version because shipping to Canada was too expensive. That's a really common thing where, especially for smaller games, where it's like, I don't want to pay, you know, $19 US for a game and then $25 to ship it. Just fundamentally, that seems stupid, right? Like, that's offensive, you know? So I want to do a little video series where I craft a game and then play it. because I got lots of tools for doing crafty things, and I think I might try and just do really simple. I mean, I haven't done a lot of print and plays. You know, my capability of making something amazing quality or something. I have tools, but maybe not technique there. So I'd like to work on that some more. Sounds simply divine. Look at you with the support. I appreciate you so much. So yeah, I got to figure out exactly how that's going to work. I might stream some of it too. Some of the crafty stuff. I'm not sure how that's going to work either. I'm kind of set up. I could do that. I could make it work. Not quite ready to execute on that yet. Just got a few like physical constraints that I got to deal with, but close. Like, you know, an example is I have a laser cutter, and I've had this laser cutter for forever, and I used it a lot, and then I haven't been using it lately because just that space has been really dysfunctional. There's too much stuff in the way. It has very specific requirements around like literally like electricity and airflow, and like really practical physical constraints on using the laser cutter. And I got those all like resolved now. It has its own space. It has like there's 3 circuits over there for electricity, so that it's not like I don't have to worry about it. I could be laser cutting right now. The compressor could fire up, and nothing bad would happen, which wasn't the case before. And you know, it's funny because it's a big complicated thing, but the actual constraints that have been stopping me from executing on it are really like simple physical things. So I've got those like resolved largely now. And it's sort of like the very corner where my crafting stuff is 90% there. And now I just need the space kind of where a camera would go to be a little bit more organized than it is right now. But that's sort of my goal over the next couple of weeks here, you know? So I'd be happy to Discord video chat to help you test it out. Rad. That'd be awesome. I do have like a literal camera inside the bed of the laser. I need to 3D print a new mount for it because the mount that I had failed. So it's actually just like fucking hanging loose, flopping around inside the laser. Suboptimal, admittedly. But yeah, I don't know if that'd be interesting to watch, but I have to do it. So I might stream it anyway, because why not? That'll be fun for me. Can be selfish. So you can see before it burns down the house. That's right. Totally. The laser looks cool. It's the actual laser is invisible, but you know, it's got a little red dot thing pointing where it's going, and it produces a fair bit of smoke, and it catches a lot of that as it goes, and it's just interesting. It's this back to the front cam. The thing that I learned about like laser anything is that lasers are shockingly accurate and ridiculously fast. Like both of those are true. I did a little printout. I cut out Jared Caffeinated Miniatures his logo on just some old like paint chips that I had kicking around, and it's like, you know, I made one this big and it took a second. You know, like it's ridiculous and like surprisingly high fidelity, you know. It still is like lower quality than you could print something at maybe, but it's not crude in any way, shape, or form. And that's with me as a super novice, right? So yeah, married to a laser guy when he was much younger. Okay, what? Tell me more. I want to know more about the laser guy, and I want to understand what amount of you know, how important was that in the like relationship? Is that why you were like, ooh, a laser guy? Is that what did it? This is my maybe my dream. Surely I'm more attractive because I'm interested in laser cutting. All right, back to the game. So we got the fire giant. He is a wide boy. He has, it's way easier to stream this. It's like I can actually see all the points and the cards at the same time. That's rad. Okay, so all of section A which is kind of this column here. Oh, weird. E1 is off on its own here. That's odd. So A is available. C is available, which is most but not all of this leg. That one at the top, not really. B2, that's a very practical point to start at, maybe. And then E3 and E4, which is this one and this one. So E4 is way in the boonies. E3 is the first card. We're not doing that. So we don't want to be in C or E initially. So we don't want to be on this pillar or along the top, basically. Useless knowledge. Blasted 1 hydrogen off of methanol for 4 years. Grad school. Oh, okay. I think he's pretty darn handsome. There you go. Anyways, I just have a big CO2 laser cutter, and I like to laser stuff with it. It's less nerdy than that, but it's fun. It's fun. Okay, we got the exact bad deal where all of our cards do almost nothing, and they're ones that are really valuable for us later in the game. So we do not want to waste these whatsoever. And it's hard to avoid. We can't use these ones because they require us to drop, which we can't do. In the spirit of the rules, we're not supposed to play ones that we can't, actually do. We could use one of these first, maybe. These are the only ones. Well, these will all let us move. Oh, this sucks. It did feel easier to stack the hand icons than the eye icons. So I think we'll keep this one. We have to use these 2 cards no matter what. So how are we going to do it? We want to do damage to something. Both of these let us move and then shoot for 1 damage. Woo. All of A and all of C is available. So we could start climbing B. Here, we'll do this. We'll do a seeking shot, and we'll start climbing B2, and we'll shoot A2. B2 is also a spot that we can do damage. So we'll shoot A2 for 1. Oh, I didn't do his health. He has 50. Shit. Okay, so what we got? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So that is 30. 39. And then we'll go with singletons. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's 49, 11. Boom. All right. So we'll do 1 damage to section A. That's this one. I think it's worth taking a damage, not from him though, to do a damage to B2 with our fearless action while we're here, because then we don't have to deal with this anywhere thing, which is awesome. And then we can play our second seeking shot. All of C is available, so we could move up to B4 and shoot C4 for 1 damage. And then we've taken 3 cards out of here, and we're not in C or E. Oh wait, oh yeah, that's B4. Okay. The distribution of the regions on this one's a little different. E is like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's very sporadic. Okay, so that worked pretty good. So let's discard all of these cards. None of these are ones we want. They all let us do. I mean, this one's no. They're all jank. Let's just turn over our hand and upgrade somehow. Okay, so we have 5 new cards. He tries to attack us, but we're not in C or E, so he fails and gets angry. These are going to move over. We're going to flip out an extra one. Oh shit, these have multiple symbols. Okay, so that's like a way more significant difficulty increase. So these match. So I presume that it's if any of the symbols match. So if in D or E, then oh my god, we get 1 tapped. So that didn't happen. So this might be a round where we have to spread the love a little more and not activate these cards, because 2 symbols each means that like we're always going to be getting hit by these things. That's awful. Okay, what do we get? Jump bomb. Parkour is good when there's sections where we can do lots of damage, like AoE damage. That's good. So that might be a handy one soon. Our skilled shot at least does 2 damage now instead of not. We really do need to get this E4 out of here. And D3, okay, so they're here. So we want to move like to this spot and then shoot them. Okay, that seems doable, right? We're here, 1, 2, and we're adjacent to both of those. We could even hit them with our jump bomb. Now, an unfortunate thing about our jump bomb... Oh no, this works out exactly. We can do it with this card. Okay, I thought this didn't have an icon on it. Look, we play this first. We have 2 foot icons. So we can leap twice. That lets us move up or down. So we can move 1, 2 onto spot D4. Parkour! And then we hit the bomb here. So we hit E4, D3, and D4, which isn't a thing, but these are both weak spots. So we're going to hit both of those. Nice. For 1 damage. The parkour move is always the way. Never forget. Always remember. So then these aren't going to activate, like nothing. We're kind of safe here. So I guess an important thing to do now would be to get to where we want to be. I want to get out more icons, but I want to save the icon attacks and so on. So we're just going to use this skilled climb, even though we don't really need to do it right now. Just to get the eyeballs and hand icons out. And we're just going to climb one. We're going to rest there, safe atop the volcano, because that sounds like a real thing that's true. You know, the top of the volcano is definitely where I want to be. And we're just going to chill. Okay, so this is not going to activate. But he'll get more angry. And then he'll flip out a new one, which matches... I'm assuming if it matches any, not that if it has to match both or something like that. So it actually matches 1, 2, 3 cards. So he's immediately like max rage. Like if those had hit us, we just would have died. So, okay. We really want to keep him. We want to like sprint across and do damage and sprint back and do damage. Or just risk it a little bit. If there's 1 card available, maybe not so big of a deal. We do also have to win eventually. So that's going to require us to actually put up some damage. Now this is E1. So that's his left arm. That sucks for us. We could make a light stride. Just stacking the deck here with icons so that we can do more later. We're scaling. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then we can just make a skilled shot and stay where we're at. A skilled shot is going to do 3 damage to E1. 1, 2, 3. Bonk. Just like that. Nice. Okay. Okay, we're doing it. So he's not going to attack us with this. He's going to be really angry. The rage meter really doesn't matter because he's capped out on it anyway. Oh, this only has 1 icon, so it only would have triggered 2 things. But it itself does not trigger, which is great. We might actually, we're right beside E1, we might actually be able to scar this. We need 4 scars or 50 damage to win. 50 is a lot. So scars might be a little bit more useful here. So what's this? A3. Okay, our dive bomb is really good when we have sections where we can do lots of damage. We could hit A3 with our dive bomb right now, though. And hit E1 again. So that's an option for a good second card. A good first card might be our Seeking Shot. I don't know if this is gonna... We're kind of not quite doing enough damage, I don't think. We're gonna do 3 damage to E1. Pew. And then climb. Oh, wait. I can't play that there. Never mind. I have to play it in the first one, where I would only do 1 damage. Ooh. Yucky. That's not what I want. Okay, so let's do our dive bomb first. We drop. Can we hit more than one of these? If we drop down to A2, we can. Because then we can hit A3 and B2. So we drop down, we can drop any distance, and then we do 1 damage to all the spots around us. In practice, that's 2 damage. 1 to A3 and 1 to B2. That's okay. Slowly working on it. And then we can do that seeking shot, where we're going to do 3 damage to... I mean, we could work on B2, but this is a lost cause, I think. We're not doing that much damage to B2 next round. Feels unlikely. So let's just do it to A3. Let's cut our losses here. We'll do 3 damage to A3. Bonk. And then we get to climb 2. And we'll climb here into the middle. Or maybe we'll climb to here. That's more adjacent to our other things. Further from D3, but I don't know how relevant that is. I don't think we're getting this one as well. Whatever, we'll do that. I don't think I need this skilled climb card. Like, it's nice to play it out and get the icons, but I just don't need to climb as much on this guy. I need to make a lot more leaps and drops. Likewise, the path climb, not super useful. And the icons on it are less good. So we're going to get rid of those and draw 4 new cards. Okay. He's still really ragey. That's okay. All right. So we're 1 above A3. Oh, here's our early game cards. 3 damage to the spot we're on. That's big. Strong swing we want to hold on to. A skilled swing we want to hold on to. How much damage do we need to do? 6 damage. Well, we might have to use one of those a little early anyway. So, let's... D2. Oh, that's the spot that we talked about not going to. Way over here. Okay, so let's drop. We'll pay 1 to drop 1 onto A3, because that's this spot here. Oh, or do we want to do E1? Let's do E1, because then we can maybe get A3 next, because we already have a bunch of damage on. Okay, so we paid to drop, and then we're doing this one. That's why I can't find it in my hand, because it's on the table. So we're doing this piercing blade, and doing 3 damage to E1. And then we're going to take a strong swing and also do 3 damage to E1, which is a scar. Boom. Now this one is available, so we're going to have to probably deal with that next turn, or we're going to be really hurt. These cards are so bad that I think like we could legitimately get 1 tapped. So this doesn't resolve. But because there is this card, if this one has a blue icon... Oh, when revealed, remove 1 wound from each weak spot that has wounds and place them on the Wraith. Oh, that's... Oh, shit. Okay, so we gotta actually... We gotta... That's a significant problem. Also, I didn't know the always active here. How did I miss that? Oh my god, I was distracted by laser cutters and I screwed this up. So, I think this is what we had. We wouldn't have dealt... When attacked by a bow attack, these guys take 2 fewer wounds. Oh, we didn't do a bow attack. We might have previously, but I don't know. But I think that one's fair. However, we didn't do this. When revealed, remove 1 wound from each spot. I think that I would have liked to have remembered that that was a thing. I probably would have played this differently. Whatever, we'll just suffer the consequences of it. If anywhere, remove the last card from each of your action rows. Oh man, this is a brutal, all of these cards are really brutal. And the fact that I missed this means I probably would have played that turn differently. Okay, you know what? Was this? Yeah, this was the one that we had revealed. I just failed to do this stupid thing because that was D2. Okay, listen, we can't suffer those. We're gonna lose the game because of that. Let's put back our thing. This is the spot we would have been at prior to the turn starting. And this had a 3 on it. Okay, so we're gonna have to resolve this because we removed 1 wound from each weak spot, which is everything. That was how we were preventing cards from activating. All the cards that activate basically one-tap us. So we've kind of rewound back to where we were, I think. This would also have 1 fewer. It would have only 2. Okay. So, remove the last card from each of your action rows. These cards are removed from the game, and then take a bunch of damage. Throw out 3 cards, suffer 3 wounds anywhere, right? Because we would use the big rage bar. This rage bar is going to be stacked all the time because these are extremely matchy-matchy compared to the other decks. So, resolving this one's really bad. B2 is not that far away, but it's far enough away that it's difficult to do anything about. We don't have any more arrow things, which sucks. But we can... Do we want to just deal with that? I think we do. I think we just want to stop this, and we have to forego our dream of doing that damage to E1. So we're going to make a swift stride that lets us leap 2. We can go 1-2. And then we do that same thing we had done last time. We're going to pay 1, not from there, from here. I think I put that in the wrong spot, but whatever. We'll call it even. To drop, so that we can drop down to B2. And then we can hit it with a piercing blade for 3 damage. 6, 12, 18, 24. Is there any way we've done that much damage? 30. Or did I scoop some off to the side and screw it up? Probably. No, we did some damage earlier. We've got at least 10 or 12 damage. Seems not crazy. Okay, we'll call it even. Hopefully. Okay, that is our turn. I put this on the wrong thing. It goes on that one. So this is not going to resolve. He's still really ragey. But that might all be for naught because we might just flip out a card that's then going to resolve and screw us. Right? White. It does not match anything. It was quite remarkable. Okay, this one's on D3, which is over here. D2 is also way over here. And A2 is right beside us. So we got to be kind of anywhere. This is an anywhere card. So it being matchy-matchy will kill us, right? That'll be really bad. So we kind of got to hustle over to this side of the board and hit these cards, I think. That would be nice. Weak spots adjacent to this are dealt fewer damage from arrow attacks. Ugh, yikes. We do have this jump slash, which doesn't do a lot of damage, unfortunately, but it does let us move over to where we need to be. We don't have our firework card, which would be really, really handy right now. So what's more important? Probably getting rid of D3 so that we don't immediately suffer this consequence. So let's do our jump slash. That lets us move 4, leaping, 1, 2, 3, 4. We can do whatever we want, up or down. And then we were going to attack for 2. Not ideal, but better than immediately dying. And then our second move, we don't have great options here. We don't have a good way of dropping down unless we just attack, or unless we take a damage to do it. But it would be really nice to not have the matchy potential. A2, we were right beside this, weren't we? But we didn't have a bow where we could do anything with it. So that sucks. All right, let's pay 1 to drop. And then we'll dash and slash. Well, we're going to do 2 damage to that. And then we can climb 2. And we're just gonna climb up to D2 or D3 rather. Ugh. We probably don't need this sprint climb right now. We need big damage. Okay, this isn't gonna happen. He's really angry about it though. We're gonna flip this out, and it does match, so this does happen, which is really unfortunate. Remove the last card from each of your action rows. These are removed from the game. That hurts. So out. If anywhere, which we are anywhere, we're going to lose 3 cards from our deck. 1, 2, 3, and suffer 3 wounds. And then the rage bar resets. So we are almost dead. And we lost like 1/10 of the deck. Unlucky. But that's okay. Moving on. What could go wrong? Nothing. We're fine. Okay, this is all of section B. So that would be a great thing to use this Firestorm on. We could also hit A2 with it. If we want to be on spot B2. Is that actually achievable? I'm not sure. We also want to hit... Yeah, we want to hit A2, A3. I mean, ideally if we were on... Yeah, and all of B. So we want to be like right here on B2. And we're going to do a ton of damage with that. It's worth spending our turn to get there. But I don't know if we can. That's another wild leap. We could use this sprint climb. It's the one we discarded last time. We got it back. Climb to there. And then we could take a damage in order to drop again, because I think it's worth it. Because then we're going to use this Firestorm, which does 2 damage AoE. So it's going to hit all of these spots. It's going to hit A2 for 2. And then it's going to hit 2 for 6 damage on B. So that's huge. And we're back to some equilibrium here where we cannot tolerate any damage from anything, basically, or we just die. So he's going to get Ragey again. And surprisingly no matches, so no additional rage. And this is section D, which we're far away from. We don't have a sufficient movement to keep going back and forth. So at some point we're just gonna have to risk it. This is a rough one to risk, but it only affects A and D, not everywhere. So we can just stay out of A or D for now. Try to get this B scar maybe. He also only has 18 health. So if we just keep punching him, that works really well. This would be a great time for another explosion one or whatever. We were not lucky enough to get that. I also got one that lets us drop or move a lot. We don't really need those right now. I think we just hurt him in section B. We try and just end this one. Put up some damage. So We have 3 different ways to do that. We can do a strong swing for 3 damage in section B. Boom. And then we can either do another strong swing or a skilled swing. I don't know that it makes a significant difference either way. Let's do the strong swing because that's only worth 3. The other one's worth 4. So this will also do 3 damage, and then this is a scar. Now a challenge here is he's almost reached the village. So we gotta like put up some big boy damage next turn. Or we're just gonna lose. He's not gonna activate, but he will get more ragey. Always active. Weak spots adjacent to this are dealt 2 fewer wounds. So we have even less reason to go to D. This does activate, but it's going to miss us because we're not in A or D. So he'll get more rage. But this is even harder to do. Melee attacks are prevented there. So we've got D2, which probably we're not getting to. A2 is right beside where we are. We can put up to 8 more damage into it. So this is definitely our target for this round. How are we going to do it? We can attack for 2. The early game card that we didn't see. Or everything else basically lets us move. This one lets us attack. So that's kind of okay. So I guess we're taking a quick shot because we got to do some damage. That's 2 damage to A2. We're adjacent to it. And then we're going to... We're at what? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If we get to 9, we just die. Anything we get hit by is going to do more than 2 wounds of damage. So we might as well do our skilled swing here. So we're going to take 1 last damage. This is the last one we can take to drop and perform our skilled swing. We'll do 4 damage to this spot. So it's now at 8. And if this activates, we just immediately die. And oh, that was on B3. Oh, should we have played this differently? Probably, because this will kill us. I didn't realize that. Oh, it's so annoying. Okay, so we had done 6 damage to this. And we had taken a thing. Okay, so hold on. Because we were 1 away from B3. We could just go there instead. We could shoot it with a quick shot and just do the damage to B3. We could have done the exact same thing, except hit this card first. So... because, yeah, nothing we have lets us move and then do damage. We're either moving and then nothing. We have 3 cards that let us not do damage. So yeah, we take that 1 damage, our last one, to slide into here and hit it with a skilled swing. So it's largely the same as what we had thought, just that we hit this card as well. So that, oh, we're in A anyways, so we're still potentially dead. Whatever, I'm not redoing that thing again. We're basically at the end here. We have to put up 6 damage next turn or we lose. Okay. We can't do all of the things and be in all of the places, which is a shame. So, he gets increasingly angry. And then if this is matchy-matchy, yellow or green, we just lose the game. It is yellow, so we just lost. Because we're in A, we just take 5 wounds and we lose. A shame. Damn. Okay, so the giants have scaled. The fire giant is way harder than the other 3, and it's not close. The fact that these cards have multiple icons on them alone makes this like way harder. We then have to like really kind of be fairly spread out. We were also tremendously unlucky in our shuffle there. This is like a common criticism I have of games with a little bit of like RNG. I don't personally mind that if it can be like mitigated. But like when I reflect on Pandemic, for instance, Pandemic is a great game system. When you start playing it on higher difficulties, this single thing that matters the most is what was the order of the cards. And that just feels shitty. I think that's rather poor design, actually, where like you can shuffle the deck in such a way on the higher difficulties that it's literally you cannot win, right? Irrespective of play. And like maybe that's a feature, I don't know, but I don't want the single biggest lever in my gameplay to be what are the order of these cards. So a lot of the cards that are in this game, like this one, for instance, are worth a lot more early, right? There's a lot of ones also that do just like 2 damage, right? 2 damage at the end of the game is not very much. If I get my, cards that do based on icons, I'm doing 6 or 7. This is 1/3 as good. But at the start of the game, if I have this in my hand, I'm doing 2 damage instead of 0 or 1. And I'm not wasting those cards for later. So it feels like getting early game cards early is like, oh, great. So then I scale. I'm doing 7, 8 damage and I can win the game easily, right? If I get those cards at the end instead of the cards that I want, then that's extremely punitive, right? I don't know that I love that personally. It feels like it's in that same vein. There's a distinct order that I want the cards to be in. And it feels like I can dilly-dally around that. But with this harder monster, like that's harder to do, you know? And it feels like it's the most important thing. More so than where I move or whatever is, am I actually able to do 6 damage in a thing, or am I capped at doing always 2? You know? We'll give it another go and we'll see if maybe that's a bad read. But it definitely feels like a significant factor, you know? We'll see. So, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That is 30 health. He needs 50. That is 39. 2, 4, 5, 44. 45, 50. All right, we'll put back in those original 5 cards. They look like they were pretty average. And we'll pay more attention to the active effects on this one because there's more of them, which is interesting, but also very interesting punitive, you know? So we'll see. Did my music end? It might have. I feel like that playlist had more than 3 hours of music on it. And yet here we are with no music playing. So let's see if I can fix that. Gotta use my old tired eyes. All right, we're just starting it over because that's easy. Ease of execution, very important. All right. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we got a handful of easy ones. Kinda. Easy insofar as like they're low value, which is actually kind of not great because we want those low value cards. Once again, we want to get the 9s out like later in the game because then we can just get the scars and win, right? If we get those out now, there's no viable way we can put up 9 damage early, right? Even though that's one of the lowest cards. So this is kind of terrible for us. Now, what's good about it is there is at least a hint of adjacency. all of section D. C3 is kind of in that area. E4 and E3 are at least on the same side of the board. So this area is all pretty good. And then there's also B3. So we could kind of maybe make that our path if we're trying to put up a little bit of damage and limit the amount of damage we're going to take, because the matchiness is extremely severe, right? So give this one more riffle and we'll give it a whirl. Got our butt kicked last time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just 5. What am I doing? Okay. So what do we get? Oh, we got one of the early game cards, and the others not so much. So a little unfortunate there. But that's okay. What's the first one? If we're in A, B, or D, then take 3 wounds. So we don't want to be in A, B, or D. So that really screams C to me. This next one, of course, happens in C. And this one happens in C. But we can hit this card while being in C. So let's start there. So we probably want to use our... Oh no, our Seeking Shot does 0 damage. That's right. I think we're adjacent to C2 here, but not C3, which is what we need to be adjacent to. Okay. So, this does nothing. This lets us move, but then does nothing. This lets us move 1, which is embarrassing. This uses one of our most useful late game cards to do 1 damage. And then this does 2 damage, but it doesn't do 2 damage where we're at right now. That's a big oof overall, honestly. So I think we're going to do a skilled climb to move 1. And then we're going to pay 1 to climb again, and then take a quick shot and do 2 damage to C3. Oof. These cards are all awful for us early, so we're just going to discard them and cycle our deck. At least we can mitigate it in that way. We do get to discard our cards and turn over our hand every time, so at least there is that part. Now, an unfortunate thing here in reading this: wounds on this card do not prevent attacks from being triggered. So we might half die just due to bad luck on the first turn. And we can't do anything to prevent it except eliminating this card, which requires us to do 10 damage, which is functionally impossible. So, hey, what's that thing that's the strongest factor? RMG. All right. So, if in A, B, or D, we are not in any of those. So this isn't going to do any damage, but we're going to increase his rage by 1. We're going to flip out a matchy. If it is blue or green, we're going to lose half of our health. It is green, so we immediately lose half of our health and a card from the top of our deck. Oh, that's our hand. So that's unfortunate. This at least is going to go away. But there's this other one beside it that's the same, except for D and E. So we can never go into D or E, basically. And we want to put some damage up on C and D from afar if we can. But we want to stay in section C for sure. And we want to hit this card. Oh no, we want to stay in C except not right now. So we want to move to B, basically. B is the only thing that's not going to take a significant amount of damage. We want to hit C and move to B. Okay, can we do that? We got the dive bomb card. That's huge. C and D are both like fully available. C4 would let us hit like quite a few spots. So that's potential. Of course, this is not in C. but they would let us do some real damage. That's huge. That's huge. We got our Firestorm card as well, which is also a pretty big deal. Just because right now the only thing that's not going to get hit is B4, right? The maximum spot for adjacency for the bombs on the board is actually this spot. And right now, we do 8 damage with our Firestorm. That's kind of huge. An unfortunate thing is that we're not actually in that location. But we could path climb to get there, and then we can Firestorm it. This is another early game card, and it works out really well this time. So we're going to hit E3 for 2 damage. We're going to hit B4, but it doesn't do anything. We're going to hit D3 for 2 damage. And then we're going to hit C for 4 damage. So that's pretty good. It's pretty good. This is a good early game card. This is another firebomby one. Not terrible right now. This is not a great early card, so we're going to get rid of the jump slash. We are saving our parkour for later. Do we want to... Are we going to realistically bomb again? I feel like probably not, but it might be useful in a turn or two. So let's just keep that one. Okay, this isn't going to activate, but it is going to piss our guy off. We're not in D or E, so we don't care too much about matchy-matchies, but this match is 3 cards. So if we hadn't done that, we would have lost the game. And he's maxed on rage. So the next time we get hit, we lose the game. Brutal. Okay. This is C4, which is where we're standing. So at least there's that. That's really quite valuable. And this is all of section C. So we might be able to put up some scars, and we got an early game card. So overall, this has worked out okay. We can let this activate and just not be in D or E. That's fine. So let's use our piercing blade as a let's open with that. That does 3 damage. Boom. Whoa. It hits both of these, so we can split that up however we want. This one's easier to do. I mean, we could just stay here and like stomp this. We could maybe do both of these. The question is, do we greed for this one? Like, do we do 1 damage here and then 2 damage here? Probably. Probably we do. And then our momentum blade requires us to move, which we don't really want to do. Our dive bomb also requires some amount of movement. But we can hit all the respective areas with it still. So that's not horrific to do. Our jump bomb also requires movement, but it could do the same thing as our dive bomb. We're probably not going to get better adjacency on these C targets than right now, so let's use our dive bomb. That stacks our deck with 2 hands. That's good. And lets us move down here and then bomb. Now B3 doesn't do anything. I guess we would really be better off bombing here. We'll do less damage to C, but we'll do more damage to D. Does that actually make a difference for us? We also hit E3. Not anymore, we don't. So it doesn't actually make a difference. So let's drop. We'll bomb this. So we'll hit C for 1, 2, 3. E3 doesn't matter. That's okay. We can decide where those go. I don't think it helps us. We're on C3. Can we get this scar next turn? If we do that, we need to do 4 damage to it next turn. We have a 3 damage and a 1 damage card. So we could realistically do it. So let's try and greed for all these C scars and try and just put this guy down with scars early. All right, let's do it. So this is going to activate. If we're in D or E, we take a bunch of damage. We are not, so he's fully pissed off. And then this won't activate either. It does match. He would be more mad, but he's as mad as he gets. So we really can't be madder than full mad. Okay, we didn't get super useful cards for us, but that is okay. We are trying to scar this. We need to do 4 damage to it. With one of our good later game attack cards, we could do that in one thing, but sadly we do not have that. What we are able to do though is we are able to use our momentum blade. So that's going to do 3 damage right here, and then we move up to 3, but we're just going to move 1. And then we could do our jump bomb. Our jump bomb actually lets us move really far. So if we do our jump bomb, we do 2 damage to C, but we can distribute that however we want. Because we're going to hit C4 and C3. So C3 is at 2, 4, 5, 8. So we'll do 1 damage to C3. And then we'll do 1 extra damage to C. So this is at 7. We do 5 more damage in section C. And then we can actually move 4. We can leap 4. So where is the safest? We want to be in B, probably, because we still want to be adjacent to C so we can do damage, but we don't want to take damage from this, which is in A or C. So we want to go boop boop to there. And then let's figure this out. This is a scar, I guess. So we can do that. This is not going to resolve at all. And are there any of these that we don't want? We really need to be putting out damage. This is good for the icons, but climbing 4 is so hard for us to derive value from right now, so I don't think we want that. So we're going to pick up 3 cards, and then we are going to resolve this. Nothing happens. He's scarred for 1. You can't be more angry than full angry. And there's no matchy here. When revealed, remove 1 wound from each weak spot that has wounds. Place them on the Wraith. We hate this card. That means this is active again. And he gets 3 health back. This one's not active, so that's nice. I did think about playing conservatively and putting out an extra one in case we got one of these, but we can't do everything. So we want to hit C and C4. Alright. So I think what we can do is a seeking shot. So we can move up 1 or 2 even. Where do we not want to be? We don't want to be in C, or we're going to have to be. We're going to have to be. Oh well. I guess it doesn't matter. We can... Yeah, okay. We're going to move to there. And we're going to shoot for 3 damage onto spot C4. And then we're going to do a falling blade. And we can drop down to C3 here. And hit it for 4. We can't do anything about this, and we just have to hope that doesn't happen, but it won't kill us because it's just shedding cards. It probably makes us lose, but we don't die. So we'll call that our action. I think these cards are fine to hold on to. This is going to not resolve. He stays maximum pissed. And we hope this doesn't have red on it. Which it doesn't. But it does have this one. It does have blue on it. So, if anywhere, yeah, I think we just lost. So we're stunned. Our next first card does nothing. And we take 1, 2, 3 wounds and lose 3 cards. Oh, maybe we're not dead. We have 1 health left. So we can't use any of these actions anymore. Our first half of our turn does nothing. And these all, you know, go out. So that sucks. Okay, so we're at 10 on this. We want to make a scar here. We need to do 2 damage. That seems extremely achievable. In fact, we have our dash and slash, but our first turn does nothing. So we're going to bleed out this swift stride here, doing nothing. And then we're going to do a power jump. Oh, no, not a power jump, sorry. A dash and slash. So we're going to attack for 2. That's going to do 2 damage, and this is a scar now. Boom. And then we can move upward 2. So where do we want to move to? This gets activated anywhere and will cause us to lose the game. So we just have to hope we don't get blue. And we don't want to be in A, B, C, or D. So we're going to move up here too to E3. And we're just going to hang on to these and hope for the best. All right. So nothing happens. Oh, wait. This is reset, though. So it's no longer reset because nothing happened. He's angry. And then we're going to flip one of these out, which mercifully does not have blue on it. It has green and white, which is a matchy for this, which doesn't activate, so he gets angry. Okay. So we just have to get 2 more scars, or do what? 6, 12, 18, 24 damage. 23 damage. Easy. Easy game. Okay, so we don't want to get hit by any of these, but we really want this one to be gone. So that's D2, which is way down here. So we could fall right down to that if we had a falling card, which we do. We have our power jump. So we could fall down to it and then hit it. But then these ones will still kill us. E is the only safe place on the board. And if we want to win, we're going to have to scar this, because we're not doing 24 damage before we take 1. So we can take a skilled shot. That will hit this for 4. And then despite that being really low, it's at 7. We need to do 3 damage to it. We don't have a way of actually doing that. There's nothing. We have 3 cards that let us just climb, 1 card that lets us just do damage where we are, and 1 that lets us, oh yeah, 3 that let us just climb. Like, this was extremely unlucky. 3 out of 5 cards don't allow us to do damage. Really bad timing for that. So we can't scar that thing out anyway. So instead of doing 4 damage to it, we probably do 4 damage to D4, because that at least then we have an opportunity. We're still adjacent to that anyhow. We at least have an opportunity to scar that one. And then we're not particularly close to any of these other things. We can move, but we want to stay in E. So this is A3, C2. So down here, over here, and over here. But we really want to stay in E, because it's the only thing that's safe. A, C, B, D are all bad. So we just want to kind of stay put. So we're going to stay put, and we are going to heal. We're going to take our skilled climb, and we're just going to heal with it. We'll heal 1. anticlimactic. We're going to get rid of these other ones that just let us climb. We're going to be stuck with those later, which is going to suck. And we'll see how this goes. So, he's ragey. And there are, well, this is a match, but he can't do it, so he's ragey. So he's super ragey. We're going to lose. It's going to be bad. Okay. B2, C2, D2. Which sounds like they're close, but they're not adjacent at all. D2, C2, and B2, none of them are adjacent. D4 is up here, and A3 is over here. So A3 and B2 are like the closest things. This is another anywhere card. So this is also an anywhere card that I just conveniently forgot about. So D2 and B2 we need to hit. D2 is way down here, B2 is way over there. We are not hitting both of those. That's the only thing that I know for sure. So this one's less likely to happen because it's just one symbol. So we're just going to ride that out. We're not going for D2. Whatever. We really want to scar this guy. This is our time for ranged attacks. We can almost make this work. We can do 5 damage with this ranged attack. That puts us at 9, and we need 10. We can't do a fearless attack for range. That doesn't exist. We have our dive bomb, which is positively worthless because nothing is adjacent. Our light stride, which I think we kept. Skilled swing will let us do, likewise, 5 damage. And a strong swing will let us do 5 if it's in slot 1. So 5 on the spot we're on, which we can't hit. So I think we're just going to die. Like, there's nowhere we can go. Our cards are almost exactly what we don't need. So we're just going to, like, not invest a whole ton of, time and effort into min-maxing, because I don't think there's a great way for us to do it. We're going to hit this for 5. Be sad that we couldn't do one more. I mean, I guess, wait. We could do one more with a fearless action. No, they cost double right now. So we cannot do that. We're going to get rid of our dive bomb because it's garbage tier currently. But I think we just lose the game here. So if in A or C we lose 3 cards, we are in neither of those things. And this matches this one, which is if anywhere. So we take 3 damage, so we lose. Boom. That sucks. I just lost twice back to back. I don't know, in both cases that didn't feel fun. This get hit anywhere on the board for, if this happens twice you lose the game. Like, just straight up sucks. Like that, yeah. I don't know in what context that's like particularly fun, like it's that same thing, right? It's like, I'm fine that I have ways to mitigate this, right? In practice, what happened is I flipped out a card and something that I had no practical way of doing anything about immediately one-shot me. Or not one-shot, two-shot, right? That would be much more tolerable if I could, that could happen a couple of times, or I had some meaningful way of recovering. If I spend my whole turn recovering, I gain 2 health back, but I can just RNG lose 6, right? That feels really disproportionate, right? Boo! But you didn't get the bestest cards for that. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Like, I want this game, like, the biggest problem with, the first three things that we did, the first three elementals or giants, whatever, were too easy, right? The second or third one rather was definitely like better because there was like motion was suddenly more important. I needed to manage where I was like a lot more. And that felt good, right? I had like some difficulty with some agency. This hasn't felt like difficulty with agency. Cards that affect you anywhere and potentially like at half kill you are not fun. And yeah, I can travel over there and stop them from happening, but only if I don't RNG the one that, you know, takes a thing off of every card, which happened, right? And like, etc. So it's just sort of like, it's weird. The difficulty on this fire giant scaled immensely, but not in a satisfying way. Like on the air elemental, it was satisfying. It was like, cool, I'm going to get randomly disrupted. I'm going to have to, I can't just, in the earlier two, I could just shed all of my climbing cards because I never needed them. I'm going to have to be a little bit more conservative, but like I have agency and whatever. This doesn't feel like that same thing. It's like the cards are generally going to almost always apply. So you're going to have to sort of spread your damage out, and then randomly that's not going to be effective either. And if that happens to hit you, you're in the wrong section or whatever, you just die. That's such a disappointer, like such a disappointing thing. Like that's not a fun way for the difficulty to increase. And I wish it had been more like that air elemental where it got harder. And had I lost, it would have been like, okay, like I can manage this and I could have played differently or better. And I feel like I could try this again, but it doesn't feel like I'm doing something obviously wrong or whatever. I think the way to play is rather self-evident, but it feels like I'm going through the motions until I get a sequence of cards that isn't super punitive. I don't want that to happen, you know? So, anyways, I think I'm going to stop here actually, because I'm a little frustrated with this. I'm disappointed, but not disappointed, eager to try again. I don't want to get one shot by a card that affects me anywhere. That's never going to be fun. And it doesn't feel threatening or clever. It just feels shitty. Anyways, enough ranting. Overall, I had fun with this, but it's really difficult for me to get past the fact that this feels like if I had taken Leviathan Wilds and made a description of it from memory, this is the game I would get. You know, it's unique, it's interesting. I like the idea of this progression from the young Wraith to the adult one to the elder one. That's kind of a cool idea. In practice, it means that there's 4 scenarios, and if you play the whole game, you play them 3 times. There's a little bit of additional rules and stuff layered in there, but I don't know if there's enough there that would make this really interesting. You know, it felt very tactical. It felt like I had a couple different things I could do each turn, but they were sort of like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, and then like a bunch of, you know, non-viable options always. So overall, I think what I got is kind of what I expected. This feels like budget Leviathan Wilds, and Leviathan Wilds was an excellent game with an interesting difficulty curve and choices to make where I felt like I had agency. And overall, I think I'm just comfortable saying that, like, if you're going to play a game where you're climbing a giant and killing it, Leviathan Wilds is way better than this. And this has to be I feel almost bad, but this is a Scott Almes game, and like a designer that is well liked by a lot of people, and I've played at least 4 or 5 games by him, and all of them have been duds, you know. And this one, it's like, why the hell would I ever play this when I could just play Leviathan Wilds? And it's the same idea, because this feels like a ripoff of it, but it's way better executed, you know. I don't know. A shame. Also agree. I like the other one better. Yeah, like that. Like Leviathan Wilds. You know, it's been a bit since I've played it. Sarah's actually been bugging me a lot that I should play it on stream. Maybe I should. Maybe I'll just play that next week and do a little back-to-back comparison. I'll break out Leviathan Wilds. I did get an expansion pack for it, and I think there was a little bit of errata and stuff included in it. So I got to kind of reconcile all of what I have. But that was like super fun and interesting, and you know, I felt like I had a bit more interesting choices to make there. Ooh, new replay. The art was really cool in this one. Yeah, I like the art here too. But I like Leviathan Wilds better anyway. And I also, there's something like, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to decide how much of my, like, I didn't mind this. This was a fine game. On its own, this was like a 6 out of 10 or a 7 out of 10. I would play this game again. I would try it. It's really hard for me to overlook that Leviathan Wilds factor though. And I want to just like, I'm trying to like figure out how much of my, you know, not feeling great about this game is because of the similarities to that one. And I'm not sure what the answer is. Like I said, I don't mind derivative stuff. This feels more like a copy than derivative. It's not like there's tons of games about whatever trading in the Mediterranean, but they're all different. The Leviathan Wilds is a very specific concept, climbing up a boss as a small, you know, human and fighting it by doing damage to its individual locations. That feels really distinct as a like concept, and this feels so similar to that, you know, that it gives me a bit of heebie-jeebies. And maybe it's a coincidence. It might be. But I really doubt it, you know? So anyways, the right thing to do is to stop bitching about it. And to try Leviathan Wilds while this is fresh in memory and give it a little comparison, because it has been a little bit. Later today, my little plastic people will stand on circles and go pow. I'm not sure I know what you mean. What do you mean? Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna whatever. I'm gonna stop bitching and I'm going to play Leviathan Wilds again, and we'll see if that's as similar of an experience as I think it is from memory, because it has been a minute since I've played that. Maybe I'm being unfair, but it was very, very similar to this conceptually, but better executed. So I'm gonna give that a try next stream. There we go. That will be next Sunday. And yeah, I think that's the deal. Same mechanics, slightly different game as in every. Oh yeah, okay, gotcha. All right, with that, I'm melting. Actually, it's super hot in here, and I think that added to my grumpiness. So I'm gonna wrap up, and we are gonna, I guess, be back next Sunday. I have been talking a lot about increasing the amount of times that I stream. I am going to make good on doing a crafting stream, but I do have to figure a couple of other things out before I can actually make that happen in practice. So I'm going to work on those this next week, and then hopefully leading into the following week, I'll have an opportunity to actually start executing on some of those other streams and so on. So it was a great stream. Thank you, and have a great night. Thank you, Allison. I'm glad you hung around. It was fun to chat with you about this and compare it to the other one. I'm glad you remembered. And yeah, I had a good time. Like this was like a decent experience. I just wish it was. I wish it was Leviathan Wilds. I'd rather be playing that. So we're gonna put that to the test next stream. And with that, I will see you guys next time. I'm a fucking bandit. Understand it. I'm a fucking bandit. Understand it. I'm a fucking bandit.